Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce made especially for you. You can find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. It's also sponsored by South Florida Allied Health, located in Boca Raton, Florida, specializing in men's health, women's health, medical weight loss, IV therapy infusion, testosterone therapy, and hormone replacement therapy. Florida residents only. Well, here we are, episode 92. And on this episode, no Jack. No Jack for the near future. He's a busy man. So in his place, as usual, Mark Smith and Lou Colicchio from the Music Relish podcast, they will be doing a residency now on this podcast. Yes, deep into the near future. No end in sight. And we're going to pick up where we left off last week. 50 final live or 50 live last performances. You say that 3 times. I don't care. 50 live last performances. So enjoy the show. Jesus.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB Studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction as usual, and welcome to the podcast. You know the name, I'm not going to say it. We're streaming live right now over YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, DLive, blah, 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 blah. We're streaming live. We're streaming live every Wednesday night, 7:45 if you're interested. If you want to see what we look like and you're out there in podcast world, you can go to the Milk Crates and Turntables YouTube channel. We got all the episodes there. This is episode 92. Yeah, we're rolling into year 3. No end in sight. You know, we're not lighting the world on fire, but it's a music podcast, which, you know, what one really is. But we have a nice little cult following, loyal cult following, and I'm happy with that. I think everyone's happy with that. It's a good podcast. It's a good podcast. No Jack tonight, but he'll be back. He'll be back someday. Someday. He has other obligations that he has to take care of. So, you know, and that's fine. That's fine. Jack's part of the show. He helped build this podcast, so he's always welcome back. But in his place, I have, like I always say, the best utility guys in the game. They can play any position on this podcast. They roll right in. Lou Colicchio and Mark Smith from the Music Relish podcast. What's up, gentlemen? Enough of that. Okay.
Hey, I'm studying for my test.
You what, Mark?
I was studying for my test, the test I had to take.
Your Narcan test?
I heard you last
What's
week.
what's there to test?
How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good. Last week, Mark wasn't here. He had another obligation. He had to take a class because he's a good little doobie. Good little doobie. He's taking this test. He's taking the class to save lives. So we can't really dog him.
No,
it's not.
It's voluntary too.
It's voluntary. You know, like I said, we're not going to get into it. But you know, if it was like something like I had a guitar lesson, or you'd be hearing it right now, buddy.
I can play my guitar.
Fuck. Jack's not here. Oh, by the way, happy birthday, Jack Calabrese.
Hey.
Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Yeah. I don't know what he is. He's 50 something. He's up there. Yeah, he's up there. I think he's older than me now.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think so, but I'll keep saying that. Someone will believe me. So happy birthday, Jack. I hope you had a great day. And anyways, enough about Jack. So what's been going on, man? What's been going on, Lou? Anything?
Not much. That busy day. My son surprised me by coming down tonight. I wasn't expecting him, so I slapped us a quick dinner together before we got on here. And
what was on the menu? What was on the menu?
Fish and chips.
There you go, buddy.
My favorite.
You make it?
This one was not. It wouldn't have time. It was a frozen one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have made it though, and it's a mess. But it's good.
It
is good.
Do you do the beer battered, or do you do the breaded kind?
Batter.
The beer batter?
I'm in the business. Yeah.
All right. What have you been up to, Mark?
Working and taking a deep dive into jazz over the last 2 weeks. I know you just love jazz. Yeah. Deep dive. Playing a lot of piano jazz. Yeah. Just
look, buddy. See, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You don't have to audition anymore. I know that you do. You're building your resume. Yeah. You're building. My father. He just turned 88 yesterday. But
cool.
No matter what,
another birthday.
Yeah, the old Viking turned 88. Happy birthday to him.
Great. Happy birthday.
He no matter what, like I went to college. I graduated. I went in the military for 10 years. I had a successful military career. And I went into U.S. Customs and Border Protection. I was a K-9. I'm a decorated officer. No matter what I did, if I did something else or he would suggest something, he always said, it's good for your resume. You can put that on your resume. I'm like, Dad, I'm pretty established in my career. I'm like, yeah, that's good though, but it's always good to put it on your resume. Okay, Dad.
Everything on it. It's a dossier.
Everything goes on the resume. Yeah. Or now they call it a CVC or something. I don't know. My wife.
Oh yeah.
In her business, in her line of work in medical, they call it a CVC or something.
Curriculum vitae something.
Yeah. And then there's the LinkedIn thing, and I'm glad I never had to deal with that.
I use LinkedIn as a dating site.
Did it work?
I'm taking a new approach. I look at the resume. I'm like, top performer, huh? All right. You're a proven results getter. I like you already.
Lou, coming right out the block.
I had a slow start last week. I'm making up for it.
That's my dating site. Oh, beautiful, man.
It works. Because like he's really aggressive, like a total alpha business guy. You know what I mean? And
you know, there's some fucking nut out there listening that's going to start using LinkedIn as their dating site. You know somebody's going to try this.
I hope so.
It's inevitable. Somebody's going to hear this and go, oh, you know what?
That's an idea.
I can lose onto something here.
Yeah. And I only go executives. Anything below like a CFO, I don't deal with.
I don't want nothing to do with you.
Nothing but tens. That's right.
Did I hear blow a CFO or below a CFO?
Oh, 700 miles away, pal.
Hello. Shots fired.
I got a friend in Pearl River, Mark. He lives right around the corner from you. No, he moved.
Lou got reach, buddy.
I am scared of him. He's a fellow Irishman.
Lou got reach. So let's jump into it. I have this came across this article. We're going to cover some more of those okay, let me get this right. Of the list of 50 last live performances. Still, last live performances. But before we get to that, I came across this article, and it's titled, and I agree with this article, and we talked about this before the show. I believe Mark agrees with it also. 5 reasons why George Michael should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I've been saying this for a little while, too. I've been saying this. I was carrying the torch for Depeche Mode for years. I think they were long overdue. And they finally get in. There's another person that I think should be in there, but she's not really popular in America. Joan Armatrading should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you look at her fucking credentials, If you look at her resume,
well, yeah, it's all on there. And even like a lifetime thing, or she's been around forever. But
I mean, she is just she's been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right. And she crossed over into jazz, and she won a Grammy for best jazz album, I think it was, and
really
or something. Yeah. She crossed over, and she was pop, and she's popular in Britain, but she was kind of kicking around in the early 80s. She had Me, Myself, and I think that came out in 1980.
Yeah.
And then she something Drop the Pilot, I think, came out after that. I was a big fan. I saw her live. Great performance. Great live performer. But she should be in there. But now I've been saying George Michael needs to. The Pet Shop Boys really need to be in. The Pet Shop Boys, without a doubt, need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
What is your criteria for that? I know a couple of the hits, and they're
all right. So you have Longevity, number one, right?
They're still around.
They're still around. They're still putting out albums. They're still touring. They have a number of hits, more than the Go-Go's. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Careful.
Yeah, I know.
U.S. hits.
Yeah, U.S. hits. But so I think there's the stigma attached to them with the name, right? And the type of music, electronica. I don't think electronica gets enough respect, but it's coming around because Depeche Mode was kind of the one of the architects of electronica.
And wasn't New Order nominated this year?
New Order, yep. So it's getting to the point, but George Michael should be in, no doubt. And even Taylor Hawkins, the late, great, I guess we could say.
Yeah.
Taylor Hawkins agreed that he'd like to see George Michael in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the first on the list is the first reason is he dominated pop music in the 80s, and there's absolutely no doubt about that.
True. Yeah.
Whether it be with Wham, and then kind of toward the end of the decade, he went out on his own. So, number two, great songwriter, a performer, and actually a producer, too. So
he produced Wham, I think. He was the producer, wasn't he?
Yeah, it says so. His reason, he said, like Prince, George Michael could also do it all in the studio. In fact, Michael famously wrote, produced, and played every instrument on the Wham holiday standard Last Christmas. Even when he didn't play every part on songs, Michael maintained creative control of his work. He produced Wham's 1984 breakthrough, Make It Big, and wrote 6 of the 8 songs himself, and repeated the feat on Faith, which is a good album. Co-writing just one song. It helped that Michael also had a beautiful voice and could leap between soulful crooning, rock snarling, R&B caressing, and pop belting with ease. For proof, look no further than his stunning performance on Queen's Somebody to Love in the 1992 Freddie Mercury tribute concert.
Right.
Yeah, that's what convinced me of his talent, that tribute concert.
Yeah.
I was like, he should be a member of Queen. He should have joined.
Number 3, he carved out a pop career his own way. A fan of acts such as the Isley Brothers and Stevie Wonder, Michael drew on soul and Motown for some of his most well-known Wham songs, updating these classic sounds with an 80s sheen. On later efforts, he took influence from early rock and rollers like Elvis Presley and crooners alike. Michael also stayed on the cutting edge, exploring hip-hop on early hits such as Wham Rap, which was horrible, and electronic music. On the business side, he was never afraid to take risks and chances. He didn't appear in the Freedom 90 video, which is a great song and a great video, actually. And also wasn't on the cover of 1990's Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. That's right. And that was a huge album. That album was huge.
Yeah.
Michael referenced a high-profile incident where he was caught in a public restroom engaging in a lewd act for the music video for Outside. I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. While his 2002 single, Shoot the Dog, was political critique of then leaders Tony Blair and George W. Bush. And the thing, and I've said this before, the thing about George Michael is he could get into these situations. I discussed this with Jack, and he had no problem with self-deprecation. He always owned it.
Yeah.
Always owned it, made a joke of himself, went along with it like, yeah, I messed up. That was kind of dumb. He never, like these artists today, are all defensive. They're all like, well, it's because of this, or you're racist, or this, that, and the other thing. He just went with it. He never screamed homophobia, never, nothing. He just said, yeah, okay, I got caught. I got caught in the men's room. Okay.
Because he did. He did.
And he didn't like, there was no, he'd go on talk shows. So the guy was like a master at getting into trouble and then getting himself out of trouble and still being accepted by his fans and actually garnering more fans for his honesty and his candor. And he was really good at self-deprecation. He had no problem. Let me see. Number 4, he stood up for the rights of artists. Prince and Tom Petty famously fought their record labels for fairer treatment. Michael did the same thing after Columbia CBS Records became part of Sony due to a business deal. He said, quote, my relationship with CBS Records was a successful affair. Whereas his arranged marriage with Sony simply does not work. We do not speak the same language. Michael lost the lawsuit but declined to record music for Sony, leading him to signing a new record deal starting with 1996's Older. And number 5, he was a staunch activist, and philanthropist. Michael was a constant activist for causes which he believed. He performed with Wham! 1984 benefit for striking miners and later played a benefit for nurses as a way to thank them. Michael also became a vocal advocate for the LGBTQ community, which back then was just called the gay community.
Yeah.
Right. For example, performing at a major 2000 concert for Human Rights Campaign and a staunch supporter of HIV/AIDS benefits and charities. Proceeds from his 1991 duet with Elton John on Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, which was a great version, were donated in part to AIDS charities. The Red Hot nonprofit organization credited Michael with being instrumental in bringing the project to fruition. After releasing Red Hot and Dance in 1992 benefit compilation, which featured 3 of his songs, including Too Funky, Michael was also a major philanthropist. After he died, countless stories emerged of the people he helped with no recognition wanted. I think his image, because of Wham!, made him kind of a laughingstock, quote, but, you get these artists that stick it out. Like he stuck it out. Mm-hmm. He fought through it. And another person that is as fucking talented as they get that did the same thing was I was just gonna say his name. What's his name for blonde?
Pee Wee Herman.
No, the blonde-headed kid. I think he came out of NSYNC. Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake. He fought through that whole thing, and that kid just like absolutely took off.
I mean, the whole early image. I mean, Wham! They made fun of the videos with the shorts and stuff like that.
But did they?
But yeah, sure they did. But the
not
song
they. We, Lou. We. We.
You're talking about Mark, I think, right?
What?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No. We did. Yeah, we did. Let's be honest. But at the same time, you can snap your fingers, and it was I'm thinking of Wake Me Up Before You Go. I mean, the song's catchy as hell, man. I heard it recently in a store, probably.
Yep.
And so is his music, even the solo stuff, has it lasted? Is it a lasting influence?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I say to this day, "Careless Whisper" is a classic ballad. That's a great song, and that's the song that made me realize Wham! Are pretty good. That Wake Me Up to me, I was like,
Yeah, it was overplayed. The video was campy, and it kind of gave you, like if you were a testosterone-filled young man, that was not the video you wanted to be caught watching.
Well, like us?
Like us. That's right. You never catch me. You never catch me.
That's why guilty pleasures are so good, because you might like a lot of videos. I mean, Billy Squier did a career-ending video, but that aside, but the song itself is a different story. It's just, but that was the format. But yeah, we all laughed at a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. But I think most definitely he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll just say 2 fucking words: Carly Simon.
Oh, tell me about it.
Tell
me about it.
That's it.
And when did he die?
He died Christmas Day. I think it was like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Christmas Day. Yeah, it was kind of a sad.
Yeah.
You know, but how many rock stars die in a good way, right?
Yeah.
Like Scott Weiland did not die in a good way. You know, he in a trailer. I think Lane Staley from Alice in Chains died like weighing like 97 pounds in his apartment. You know, and it's just how many of them really die good. Tom Petty died in his sleep.
Read about the MC5 and Fred Sonic Smith and I forgot the other guy's name. Ron Tyner or something. They both died at the age of 46. Having been in ill health for many years. Like you're 46. You've been in ill health for many years before that. The lifestyle and the whole the whole thing.
Well, there's one of our loyal listeners and viewers and part of the cult following, as I call it, cult of the milk crate. I call it. The cult of the milk crate. Dave Phillips, king of the 45s, always championing Jay Giles. Always championing Jay Giles.
And Lou likes Jay Giles band.
Right. But what would get them in? Why are they not in? Let me ask you that. Why are they not in?
Politics?
I don't know. Like what? So give me 5 reasons why they should be in.
If you look at the Hall of Fame's criteria, we could read it. We could say why we think they should or shouldn't, or why they think they shouldn't be. I mean,
do you think they should be in, Lou?
At this point, yeah, I do. Even though I do.
So what was their longevity?
Well, I mean, are they still? They're not still around, though, are they?
No.
Okay.
I think Jay Giles died. He died, didn't he?
Oh, yes. He did.
Yeah.
Well, they going back from their early days, early albums. They had songs on the radio. They were covers. They covered a Bobby Womack song.
But the '80s hit "Centerfold" was their biggest hit.
"Centerfold" was a big smash, but there was really nothing after that, was there?
No. When Peter Wolf left, Seth Justman took over, and I thought he did an adequate job, but I don't think his voice could handle the touring and the live act. I remember they did come out when the first song they released with him. I actually liked it, but that was it. And so the career didn't have longevity. They're not a staple on classic rock channels, right? So what song would you hear on Jay Giles on a classic rock on a constant basis?
They would give it up for your love and things like that.
Stink.
I mean, loves. I hear more of the older stuff, but even before they're like late 70s with "Love Stinks," "Come Back."
What was that one the song that morphed into a jam at the end? I can't remember. It gets
Looking for Love.
No. It just like you got the song and then it goes into this really neat jam. You know what I mean, Scott? Right? It's like,
Is it House Party?
That's on. I can't. Yeah, but it's on classic rock radio, at least around here a lot.
Yeah.
But Dave probably has a point in that, like everyone likes to say, like if you apply the 5 rules or whatever,
give it to me. That's what it is. Give it to me.
Yeah. If you apply rules to a band, and be like, oh well, they shouldn't be in because all the rules don't work for them. But then there's a lot of bands that are in there that didn't follow the rules that got in. Or Carly Simon, right?
I think the reason it might be denied could be applied to people that have gotten in.
So should they be in before Bad Company?
I don't think so. I think Bad Company.
And Bad Company's not in.
Yeah. But I have issues.
Well, they kind of fizzled out around the same time. Bad Company made it to the mid '80s, and then they became all of other things. But that's a weird group. I mean, it's in some ways. I mean, Bad Company, they're playing on more classic rock radio than Jay Giles band. So
what did they have? They had 5 albums. Did they have 5 albums?
Probably at least that, and probably a couple that. After
what was their last one? So they did
Desolation Angels was like that was the last hit album, I think. We had
they had one after that.
Well, Rock and Roll Fantasy, right? Was that was the late 70s. It was 79, I think.
79.
Yeah. That's the album. That's I saw them. I saw that tour. But
then they put out albums with another singer after Paul Rogers left. So for '80s weren't bad.
Somebody tried to. they tried to stump me. I know. Maybe Lou has that thing like, hey, Lou, they know people know you know a lot about music. They'll ask you questions maybe every once in a while. And does that happen to you, Mark? Does anybody?
Yeah.
And
they always stump me, because you stump me.
So somebody's like, who sang this? I'm like, I don't know. Like, and they played it. I was like, I don't know. They're like, Bad Company. I said, motherfucker, that ain't Bad Company. Oh, it is. It's Bad Company. It's Bad Company. I said, no. That's another. Bad Company is Paul Rodgers. That's all there is to it. Like this guy,
it's hard to replace
two totally different sounds. Like
he has a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy voice. I mean, if nothing
Paul
else,
Rodgers
for free, absolutely. Now
he should be in, right? Just on his solo stuff, on his just on what he's done.
On like an achievement award or something.
Achievements,
yeah. Free was a big band, but they were very influential. But Bad Company, I don't know. I mean, in that period in the 70s, 80s, they were very popular. Bad Company.
They're popular, but did they break ground? They were kind of just a blues band. The 70s, they're great
English blues rock.
Yeah,
one of the best debut albums.
Yeah, that's their
you can put that
favorite
on the list.
Yeah,
put that on the list. Look at they put fucking LL Cool J in there. Now he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He fell into one of those new categories of like prestigious career or something, right?
Yeah.
And I got nothing. I have no issue with Uncle L. I love LL Cool J. I think he did have a great career. He was kind of groundbreaking, but Paul Rodgers, come on. You know what I mean? Like he can't fit into that category.
He was in Queen. He played with Jimmy Page. He did a lot. Does a lot. He's still playing. He's still singing.
Yeah. Radioactive. What was the name of that?
The Firm.
The Firm. Yeah, they had two really good hits. I like that video when they're out in the swamp.
All the King's Horses.
Can you leave tonight?
Oh, that one.
Yeah. All right.
Satisfaction Guarantee.
Satisfaction Guarantee.
Oh,
That's
wow.
a fucking jam. Go watch that video again. That's a fucking jam, man. That's a jam right there. That's like, Loverboy. Everybody talks about the hits, but my favorite Loverboy song is Take Me to the Top.
Oh, yeah. Good song.
Right off their first album. Well, of course, it's got the heavy synth at the beginning. So,
yeah.
So go listen to Take Me to the Top. You'll know what it is to the audience. So, I don't know. Jay Giles, Bad Company. I don't know.
Honorary mention or something.
Yeah,
maybe in the like what do they call it? Where somewhere in England,
and
the Sheffield Hall of Fame or something.
Well, some of these people are in the music writing Hall of Fame, which I think to them might actually be a more prestigious songwriter. Hall of Fame, a more prestigious award.
Sure.
The guys from America aren't even in the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
See. And they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either.
No, they're not. No.
So America or Jay Giles?
America,
right?
Absolutely.
So
really long lasting.
Yeah, Dave Phillips, King of the 45s. You got to get in line, buddy. You got to get in line. That's all I'm saying. So we started last week, Lou and I, because, Mark had other obligations. I have to save people's lives. That's more important than the podcast. Okay. Anyways, I see where you're going. You're really filling in for Jack well. Let's put it
look good, Mark.
You really started off on the right side of my list.
I'll get punished. I know.
Actually, my brother did tell me, give Mark some shit tonight for not coming on last week. So I said, all right, I'll give it to him.
Bring it on. Shit. I deserve it.
I'll give him some.
I got 3 older sisters. I'm tough.
Look, I know what Mark does. He throws himself on the sword real fast. So it's like anything you say is not going to hurt me. I'm ready. Yeah, I'll hurt you, buddy. I'll fucking hurt you. I'll catch you off guard. Okay, so we left off last week with the Doors, right? Jim Morrison's last performance was Light My Fire on December 12th, 1970. Now we're going to get into an interesting one. Actually, before I do that, we had some that might not be on the list. Mark Smith had one, and I had one. My friend Phil Kelly sent me this. Can you tell me, because he was there, him and my friend Jim Hurley, they're like my brothers, those guys. So he sent me, Phil Kelly, you hear him mentioned all the time. He actually called once. Can you tell me the last concert that the Clash was at full strength with Paul Simon and Mick Jones, Topper Headon, and Joe Strummer?
Where the last show was?
The last live show where they were all together.
I don't know.
The Clash.
The Hammersmith Odeon or something.
It was 1983. I'll give you that.
Wow.
It was 1983. And it was a festival. Which festival was it in 1983?
The US Festival?
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never
That was-
performed after that. Wow.
Not together. Then
Right.
Mick Jones left and then started Big Audio Dynamite.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Not a bad
that
move.
first album is really fucking good.
Yeah.
E equals MC squared, and that's just that the album just so different. Like he went into a whole nother direction. But I think he always liked that kind of. He liked hip hop. He liked all that style of music, and I don't think the band was really wanting to go in that direction. But oddly enough, Strummer ended up on his own, and Paul Simon and Mick Jones kind of stuck together for a little bit. And then about, 6 years ago, they actually recorded Plastic Beach with Gorillaz. Damon Albarn from Blur, who started Gorillaz. Gorillaz is basically him. They played on the album. And they went on tour with them also.
Really? The original guys?
Yeah, Paul Simon and Mick Jones went on tour.
Oh, those two. Okay.
Yeah, with Blur. I mean, with Gorillaz.
Gorillaz.
Which would have been great. Now there is a there's a video. There's a video by Big Audio Dynamite, and it's E equals MC squared, and that is the last video that at least the three of them, because Topper Headon was kind of out of the drummer wasn't really.
He was driving a cab.
Yeah, heroin kind of put him out. But the three of them, that's the last video the three of them were ever in. Like Paul, one of them plays a cop. The other two play, Joe Strummer plays this cop. It's a funny video. It's an interesting video. So go watch E equals MC squared by Big Audio Dynamite. And you'll see the last video that three of them were in together. And it's odd because Mick Jones' group, right? He's like, hey, guys, you want to come on? And they came on the video. I remember reading an article of an interview with Joe Strummer, and the writer is like, he's like, we're down in he has like a basement apartment, and there's a window to the sidewalk, and somebody walked by and yelled out like bring back the Clash, and he's like, fuck you. So like it's like they knew he lived there. Right? He's like, fuck you. Joe Strummer. Mescaleros. We could go into a whole show. Let's talk about him next week. Let's kind of talk about those guys next week.
Do it.
Yeah.
And everyone has their favorite from the group. Joe was my guy, and Mescaleros were just great.
Yeah. So next week we'll talk about the Clash, and then because as you see, the format's kind of now changed this year. I always want to kind of move it around, move the pieces around, and I like the music. News keeps it current, but we also kind of got away from specific bands because I always said I think that can kind of dry up. It will eventually dry up, and then you're really digging, and then it just makes the podcast. Not that this isn't a hard podcast to do, I don't think, but I don't want to make it hard, by like having to do deep dives and research. Well, fuck, we got the deep dive guy right here. We got Lou. I don't need to do the research anymore. I put all the pressure on Lou in the notebook.
I got it.
Hey, Lou, by the way, you got extremely high praise from a few Oh, look at Mark. No, Mark, put that thing away.
Yeah, don't embarrass yourself.
I know it's in there. Fucking crayon drawings in that one, right there.
Like those upside down stick figures. That's weird.
I'm redoing Charlie Brown.
There you go. You're gonna rewrite it and make it proper and no fat, nothing, no derogatory terms in there, like they're doing to Willy Wonka. Augustus Gloop can't be called fat in that book in the new rewriting of the book. Yeah. Anyways, let's not go down that alley. Lou, I'm not putting any pressure on you, but you got some high praise from some of the people that give me feedback. So no pressure, though. No pressure.
Nah, nothing at all. Nothing at all. I got to go to the bathroom.
And Mark, speaking of that, Mark.
Lou knows his shit. I'm telling you.
And Mark, if you have to go to the bathroom, don't worry. You can go. Lou got you covered.
Oh, man. That's because you weren't here last week.
Mark, you can go to the bathroom anytime you want, buddy. No, you don't have to tell us.
You're getting a battering.
I told you, I come at him. I'm coming at you.
It's the worst firing ever.
Jack's the worst firing ever.
You're being forced to stay and punished.
Hey, you notice you got a new cassette in the background?
What's that?
My new background on the screen.
Yeah, it's a TDK.
Yeah, it's a brighter cassette. I always get it kind of.
Well, TDK were the best.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of a Maxell guy. Maxell was meaty. They were beefy kind of cassettes. They were like well built.
They were
cassettes. They were. They were like had weight to them. I was like, this is a good cassette.
Did you ever see the chair and you get blown out of your chair like the ad? Yeah.
Did you ever see the Maxell cassettes were in a metal shell or a ceramic shell?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and I have one over there. They cost a ton of money, but
no doubt.
You could drop that thing 2 stories, it would be fine.
Yeah, you can try to light it on fire. It ain't going anywhere. I don't even know where we went, but let's get back to. Mark, you were going to give us some that might not be on the list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, one of my favorites, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Do you know where their last performance was? Lou, I've talked about it because it's on DVD.
That was on the list, isn't that Blue Rondo a la Turk?
Yeah, they played a festival in 2010, and very sad to watch. Keith was already, not doing his best, and Carl Palmer was pretty dissatisfied with the show. But they did it. It was their anniversary. I don't remember what one, but that was their very last show. It's available for all to see. So sad thing for me.
Yeah.
Kind of is a ragged performance or just the.
Yeah, well, they rehearsed for 5 weeks. Carl Palmer said, we rehearsed for, I thought it was too long, 5 weeks. And then we got up there and I realized we should have rehearsed a lot longer.
Really?
Yeah, Keith was having major problems at that point.
Well, didn't he have neurological issues?
Yeah, he play. Yeah. If you watch him, he's playing like a claw, and it hurts to watch, and he winces a lot and everything. So,
all right.
And you want to talk about people that passed and the way he passed? I mean, that was sad.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah,
that was a tough one. Yep. Pain, a lot of pain, right?
I still remember the day Tom Spallone texted me and said, just the text was Keith Emerson dead, and I'm like,
Suck it.
Yeah. What else you got? Anything else? Yeah.
Did you guys talk about Stevie Ray Vaughan last week?
No.
As the last show?
I don't know if he might be on the list. Did you check the list to see if he is?
I didn't see him on there.
That was August 29th, 1990 with Eric Clapton. He opened for him.
Oh, that was at that in Sweden, right?
No, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, I mean, yeah. Close. I was close.
Yeah, real close. Yeah.
Those Midwestern
His girlfriend
states,
was from Sweden, I think. She was a model or something from Sweden. I know there's something.
Yeah, the encore was Sweet Home Chicago with Clapton and Robert Cray. And then he got on the helicopter and that was it. Wow. Literally right after the concert.
Didn't him and Clapton maybe swap, or Clapton was supposed to be
one of those Buddy Holly stories, wasn't it?
The initial reports, I still remember the next morning at work, the initial reports came out that Eric Clapton died. And I was like, my initial reaction was, oh, wow, he had a great career. And then I found out it was Stevie Ray Vaughan, who had just come back. He got sober and he put out the In Step album and he was having a great career. And it's one of those things. You don't wish it was one or the other, but
right.
Yeah.
Well, if you ask me, I said Clapton should have been the one because
absolutely.
I think Stevie Ray had more of a future.
Yeah, definitely.
Clapton already had his legacy. And I was never a huge Eric Clapton fan. I like him. People don't get me wrong. I like Eric Clapton.
I hear you, man.
I'm not a huge fan of Eric Clapton.
Cream and Derek and the Dominoes, and that's all I could ever really. I mean, a few things here and there, some of his solo stuff, but I was not. He's overrated in that respect. We said, but Stevie Ray was only 35 too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Damn.
I got to say, Badge is probably one of my favorite all-time songs, though.
Great song.
Badge is a great song. You know that? You know where that came from? You know where the name came from? Do you know that story?
No.
Yeah, I forgot.
So they were it was him and Ringo and who else? So it was Clapton, Ringo, I think, maybe George Harrison.
George wrote it.
But the thing is this. The one line talking about the swans that live in the park, that part, Ringo added that in. He contributed that line.
Really?
But the next day, Clapton gets up and sees this, the song, and he calls it Badge. And so they ask him later on, why the fuck did you call it Badge? He goes, because it says it right here. You wrote it, Badge. And Harrison looks at him and he goes, like, you dumb motherfucker. That says Bridge.
That's right.
It's the Bridge, not Badge. It's called Badge now. They never changed it back.
You dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
So since I was on the Cream album, was George Harrison, was he listed as Angelo Mysterioso?
Yes, he was.
His other name that he used.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Right?
That's a great name to begin with.
Angelo Mysterioso.
And his other one was Harry Jorgensen, which is pretty funny.
So let's see. Do you have anything else, Mark?
Yeah, recent. This one is My Heart, Jeff Beck, November 12th, 2022. Grand Sierra Resort in Reno with Johnny
Depp with them?
Yeah. And there's video all over that, the very last number, and it's just, that was a big one.
That album actually charted. That album actually did really well.
Yeah.
Really well. The fact that Johnny Depp got railroaded and then got sweet revenge in the end didn't hurt the record sales.
Yeah,
that's true.
Great promotion.
He got money from the lawsuit, didn't he?
I watched. He hasn't yet, but I watched every day of that trial. I fucking loved it. It was a great time to be retired. I watched it every day. So we have Van Halen with Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony. The last song they performed. What do you think it was? Just
the ballad. Was it Love Comes Walking In or when? No. How do I know when it's love? When it's love.
When it's love. There you go.
Yeah. And that was a disaster. That concert was a total disaster.
That was November 19th, 2004. Let me see. Will Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony return to the Van Halen lineup? This is an older article. It says it's either a guarantee or it's never going to happen. We knew it wasn't going to happen because Michael Anthony just got too scorned by them. Depending on which rumors you believe, as it stands now, the singer and the bass player last joined Van Halen for a performance in Tucson on November 19th, 2004. The downfalls of the tour have been well chronicled. Eddie Van Halen's addictions, the merciless contract Anthony signed.
Ouch.
Arguing within the group. Ironic given the discourse. The lineup's final song together was When It's Love, the power ballad off of 1988's OU82. Do you know anything about that contract?
Either merciless contract? No, but that just sounds,
I'd be interested to look at that.
Research what did Alex Van Halen get compared to, the way Van Halen worked was that, in the old days, David Lee Roth did the lyrics and Eddie did the music, the guys, but they shared it. But, those two guys wrote the songs. And I think it was the same thing with Sammy and Eddie. But, that's just, whatever they say about the Eddie Van Halen, I didn't come across like a really good guy to me,
Right.
If you read, did either of you guys read Sammy's autobiography?
No.
There's two Eddies. I genuinely believe Eddie was a sweet guy, but he was an alcoholic, and when he drank, it made him a different person. So, referencing that tour, Sammy said that when Eddie would put like a little ponytail at the top of his head, you knew he was in his angry mode. He had been drinking. When they showed up for rehearsals for that tour, I think he said Eddie walked in with that little. He said he knew from the beginning Eddie was not in a good place, and he just wasn't on that tour. He was in a very bad place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a drink.
Yeah. So we have.
No, I'm not the biggest fan of the Hagar years.
I am. That's my favorite.
I think the songwriting actually got better. I do. But When It's Love was one of my favorite of that.
Yeah.
Of the Sammy period. I thought it was good.
I like the video and I like the song for Love Comes Walking In.
Yes.
That's probably
I don't remember the video.
Yeah, live. It's kind of a live but it's a pre-arrangement. It's live, and I just thought it's a great video, great song.
Produced
I secretly liked it because I was a very anti-Hagar guy, but I was in the Philippines at the time, and like I had said 100 times, every bar over there turned into from live music to these giant video bars, right? And they have these fucking giant screens and huge speakers and a booming system and dancing girls everywhere and the little bikinis. It's just it was the only thing I could think what Nam was like.
It sounds like the Deer Hunter or something.
It really was there was dirt. It was the main street was a dirt road. Everything was a dirt road for the first year I was there, and it was just absolutely you can't really give it justice by describing it, but you walk in the bars and it's just like this is another fucking planet. I was in you go halfway across the planet, I was on another planet. This place was insane.
Yeah.
Greatest thing that ever happened to me. Absolute greatest 2 years of my life. No doubt. It's just the experience was just only the people. It's all right, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so the only people that can really understand me are other alcoholics, recovering alcoholics, right? They walked in my shoes or I walked in their shoes. Only people that were stationed in the Philippines or got sent there for a short tour can really know what I'm talking about. It's just, it was great. But moving on.
Well, hey, Scott, can I just checkmate Lou here? Yeah. Lou, I know who produced that album, Mick Jones of Foreigner.
Yes, he did.
5150. Yeah.
5150.
At the 5150 Studio.
Yeah.
And that's why I told Jack the name of the album, 5150, was named after the studio.
Yep. And that's the police code.
And I told Jack, no, it's because of the studio. And Jack
he didn't believe you?
But I kept saying it's because of the studio. He says it's a California code for someone that's crazy. I said, no, but they named the studio, and then the studio was named, and they named the album after the studio.
Right.
No, but it's the code. I go, but it's the studio. I kept doing that too.
So at one point, did they name the studio Fuck?
Yeah. For unlawful carnal knowledge, because that's what he wanted to name the album. Yeah, Sammy Hagar. Motorhead. Moving on to Motorhead. Last song they ever performed live was Overkill on December 11th, 2015. It says, even in his last days, Lemmy Kilmister refused to show weakness. He dealt with surgery and illness, postponing and canceling shows as a result, but the Motorhead frontman also scheduled tour dates through the following year, a middle finger of sorts to those who thought he needed to slow down during his battle with cancer. Lemmy knew something. He's like, his December 11th, 2015 performance would be his last, taking the stage for a final time at a sold-out show in Berlin. Kilmister's last song was Overkill, the title track from Motorhead's classic 1979 album. Yep. That was a fucking one of a kind. He was a rock star. He was a rock star's rock star.
Yeah.
That's very rare air right there.
Totally authentic.
A rock star's rock star.
And his microphone, he was always
singing up.
But that's what singers should do. He doesn't strike me as being a technically minded singer.
Yeah.
But that's probably how he kept that voice so gravelly and just so coarse over the years. But I always thought it was odd when you saw them on TV or, way back and just singing almost straight up. All you saw was his neck.
Yeah.
Fucking Lou with the vocal lessons. Look at that. Mark. What the fuck, Mark?
I'm going to do the whole show like this.
Orgasmatron.
Lou just gave us vocal lessons, Mark. Come on, man.
Now we're gonna harmonize, okay?
No, okay. Hey, whoa.
Bamba-dee-da,
whoa.
But Scott, are you not the lead vocalist for Rage Against the Cafe?
I am the lead vocalist, lead singer for Rage Against the Cafe. That's right. When I go up to visit you, we have a gig set up. Have a gig ready. Mark, bring your guitar.
We're gonna crash the Asheville guitar.
Yeah,
Bar, otherwise we wouldn't get on.
We're gonna do a "Killing in the Name of." That will be our lead off track, right? Then we're gonna do "Bomb Track," right? We're just gonna blow it out.
Around. You can jump around like Zach.
I will bring an American flag to Asheville. I'll hang it upside down. I don't care. Lou will get run out of town. It'll be like a fucking scene from Frankenstein. They're gonna come to Lou's house with torches, and it ain't the KKK.
There's
it's
no
the
village.
All the villagers are coming to Lou's house. Get rid of Rage Against the Cafe.
We're gonna have to move down to Greenville.
We know you're in there. We know.
Burn them out.
Rage Against the Cafe. Okay, Kiss original lineup. What would be their final song together?
Well, Rock and Roll All Night.
There you go.
Gotta be. Right?
Yeah. And that was October 7th, 2000. So it says, what's that?
Before they kicked out Ace Frehley and Peter Criss and got lookalikes. Yeah.
And then they fucking, to boot, they had the dude re-record Beth. Like, that was, oh my God.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. The new drummer was Peter Carr?
Yeah, they had him re-record Beth. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere, of course, and Peter Criss, but it's still like these guys, Stanley and Simmons, just poured gasoline on these two. Absolutely, but they were stupid enough. Gene Simmons says they were the ones they sold the rights to their image. Yeah. They sold the rights to everything, and it was just a business deal. They didn't have to do it. They could have held out.
Well, you got to take care of business, I mean,
they probably needed the money at the time too, because they weren't making that Kiss money anymore.
They might have made it. Well, I think the 80s, even bands like that
faded. The heavy metal was out. Grunge was coming in, so they were kind of like they rode those heavy metal years. The 80s, I think they were bigger in the 80s than they were in the 70s in some ways.
In a lot of ways, and Peter Criss could not have been the drummer on those 80s albums. He's a rock and roll drummer. That stuff was out of his depth, I think, as a player.
So in a sense, he probably follow them, and
he'd have to go.
I didn't follow them. I think I had all their albums up to Love Gun, maybe.
Yeah,
and then after that, I just kind of grew out of them. Because Kiss is a group. You either like stay in it or you grow out of it.
Yeah. I agree.
And then when you grow out of it, you look back. You're like, I don't really think that they were that great. They were good, but I'm like,
Until the day I die, I'm gonna ask this question: lick what up?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look it up. Let me see. It says the story has been told. I'm not licking it up. You lick it up. The story has been told so many times that most Kiss fans know it by heart. During the band's 2000s farewell tour, drummer Peter Criss discovered that guitarist Ace Frehley was getting paid $10,000 more per show than he was. Outraged, Criss threatened to leave immediately, staying only because lawyers frantically stepped in to keep the tour afloat. Still, Criss seethed at what he perceived as disrespect from his bandmates. The U.S. tour closed. But you're a drummer, dude. Like,
what do you mean?
Drummers always get paid. Like, then they're always the last on the list, unless you're Tommy Lee.
Respect at all? We don't.
They don't. Unless so think about it. There's a very small group of drummers that you couldn't really get rid of, right? And you go with the greats from Charlie Watts to Ginger Baker or whatever. Ringo, he was his own animal. Ringo, like, you couldn't get rid of these guys, but. Like, Korn has been through like 6 drummers. Pearl Jam's been through drummers.
Yeah.
I don't know about Soundgarden. Spinal Tap. Now. Spinal Tap went through the most drummers in history.
Stumpy Joe was my favorite.
Yeah, one of them even fucking spontaneous combustion on stage, wasn't it? Like, come on, drummer. You're a drummer, dude. You're a drummer.
I worked with a guy recently, like a couple years ago, and he goes, dude, it's always the drummer's fault, man. I'm like, yeah, it's not fair, man. Like, when other musicians' timing gets bad, I get blamed for it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm stomping my foot. And you can't do it.
What's his name from Tom Petty? He couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Stan Lynch,
the original one.
Yeah, he couldn't keep up.
Peter Criss's revenge was that he had 2 big hits. Beth is like their biggest hit, isn't
That's why they re-recorded it.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to pay him anymore.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to pay him.
They
So
fucked
it
over Eric
says,
Carr too.
what's that?
They screwed over Eric Carr too.
Yeah.
He was sick. He had heart cancer, and
The U.S. tour closed October 7th, 2000, with a show in South Carolina, Asheville. No?
I'm in North Carolina.
Yeah, there was some cafe, and you're up in North Carolina. Okay,
Raging against that thing.
Yeah, they were in a cafe. As the band concluded its final number, the classic Rock and Roll All Night, Chris made sure to exit with a bang. High up on a drum riser above his bandmates, he began kicking his entire kit to the floor. The action enraged Paul Samley, who smashed his guitar and walked off stage. It was the final show featuring all 4 original members of Kiss.
No. Paul Stanley turned around and went, whoa. You can't steal the show. I'm going to smash my guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll show you. Chris departed the group soon after. Okay. Journey, Steve Perry. Their final show, the last song was Lights. November 3rd, 1991. Journey last toured with Steve Perry in 1986, but a one-off show. See, that's what I like about this list. It's not like the tour ended and that was it. They found these little obscure shows that they did. But a one-off show years later would be his final performance with the band. The singer reunited with the group in November 1991, appearing at a concert in San Francisco honoring late concert promoter Bill Graham. Journey played only 3 songs that day, closing with an acoustic version of the 1978 song Lights. We went to San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
The band would eventually reunite with Perry in 1996 for the album Trial by Fire, but an injury left the singer unable to tour. As such, the 1991 performance remains his last with the group. I was watching this, one of these Facebook reels, and guy says, this is like actually last night. It's funny. I didn't go over this list. This happens to be a coincidence. So the guy starts the reel. He says, Steve Perry will never get back with Journey, so give it up. That's it. It's never going to happen again. And then this other guy cuts to him. He says, so I used to work at a record store, and the owner of the record store was a friend of mine, and he was friends with Neil Schon. Now, there was another guy that worked at the store, and his name was Jimmy, and he was kind of simple. Jimmy, that's what we call him. He goes, he was kind of simple. So my buddy who owns the store, he has a party one night. We go out to eat or something, and he invites Neil Schon, and Neil Schon comes and he said, Neil Schon and Steve Perry hate each other. He goes, they hate each other. And so we sit down and we're at the table, and my buddy Jimmy looks over at Neil Schon and says, so where's Steve Perry? He's like totally unaware. And he said the look on Neil Schon's face was priceless. And the dude, like, what's he going to do? Yell at this guy?
Yeah.
This guy that's probably in the spectrum? At the highest, he's the middle. At highest, he's middle spectrum. Like, not even high-end functioning. He's
no filter.
What, yell at him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Is he going to drop the R-bomb on him?
Yeah, right. Simple Jack.
He said, but the look on Schoen's face was priceless. He was furious.
And I think Neil's got a temper.
Yeah. And he has I guess a propensity to use the
American
credit card, that American Express card. Yeah.
You don't leave home without it, that's for sure.
Okay. Cream, what was their last song together? Live.
We got the Champions?
Cream? Not Queen.
Cream. Oh.
Yeah.
They did We Are the Champions?
I was going to say, dude.
Ginger Baker went boom,
I
boom.
thought we covered.
Ginger Baker was a genius on that one.
Sunshine of Your Love.
There you go. Look at Lou. Enough of that. Yeah,
that was the song that broke them, right? That was their first
Cream
song that came out or got single.
Yep. October 26, 2005. All reunion shows are not created equal. In the mind of Eric Clapton, Cream added a few too many performances when they regrouped in 2005. The band originally reunited for 4 performances at Royal Albert Hall in London. The success and excitement of those shows led the group to add 3 dates at Madison Square Garden in New York, a decision Clapton came to regret. In many ways, quote, I wish we had left it at the Royal Albert Hall. The guitarist wrote in his memoir. Clapton, the New York shows, said they, quote, were a pale shadow of what we sounded like in London. Lack of rehearsal was one thing, but it reflected something else. The arrogance was back.
Wow.
The band's final song was the 1967 hit Sunshine of Your Love. Interesting.
I never heard about the outcome of the Madison Square Garden shows. I've seen the Royal Albert Hall ones. I mean, they were really good. I mean,
They were, yeah.
but it was obviously a little slicker than it was in '68. But I didn't know that when he said the arrogance return. I didn't know that was that Clapton? Or was that Baker and Bruce doing it again?
Those two did not like each other. So who knows?
When they did the shows at Madison Square Garden, I wanted to get tickets, and they sold out immediately. And I knew a guy that went, and he said, honestly, Mark, Clapton was just going through the paces. He was not impressed with Clapton. Now, if you look at the DVD from Royal Albert Hall, he was in it. He was into it. Yeah. So his spirit wasn't with it in that show. I think
he gave it all in London. He gave it, put it all out there, and just kind of was like, all right, I'm good with that. And then it's like, hey, by the way.
I might be wrong, but I thought there was one time or two where he actually came to Bruce's rescue vocally on a couple of songs. Where in fact, there was even one song I don't know which one that Bruce sang originally that Clapton sang, but wow, the arrogance came back. That sucks.
Bruce was on, and Jack Bruce, he passed not long after that tour, so he was kind of on his last legs.
Yeah. Randy Rhoads. I don't think you'd ever get this. What the last song he performed on was?
Crazy Train.
No.
Paranoid.
What the fuck how did you look at?
Ozzy always finished his shows with Paranoid.
Wait, you're getting an extra one for that one. Hold on. You're getting an extra one. Enough of that. Two applause. How the hell did you pull that one out of your ass?
Yeah. I have a lot of Ozzy recordings. I'm an Ozzy fan.
At you.
You're an Ozzophile.
Wow.
I'm an osmosis.
Yeah, of all songs, Paranoid, a Black Sabbath song.
Nice.
Yeah.
March 18th, 1982. It says he continues to be regarded as one of rock's shooting stars. Randy Rhoads first came to prominence as a co-founder of Quiet Riot at the age of 16. When he was 22, Ozzy Osbourne recruited Rhoads to be part of his post-Black Sabbath foray into solo work. The pairing was mutually beneficial. The young guitarist helped shape the sound of the 1980s Blizzard of Oz and 1981's Diary of a Madman, two of Osbourne's most successful releases. The two shared the stage for the last time, March 18th, 1982, tearing through a frenetic hardcore set. The closing song that night was Paranoid, the hit from Black Sabbath's 1970 album of the same name. The next morning, Rhoads would join two friends for a joyride in a single-engine plane. They all perished when the aircraft spun out of control and crashed into a nearby home.
And it almost hit Ozzy's trailer. It almost killed him and Sharon.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Now, was he the first guitar player to give Eddie Van Halen kind of a run for his money?
He started the whole 80s, the Virtuoso era, Yngwie Malmsteen. So he was considered the first of that, but he didn't do solo stuff. He was always with Ozzy, but he started that whole, a lot of people.
Whether it was a solo or a band or not. I mean, there were guys that Yngwie Malmsteen came along. I mean, even like Alan Holdsworth and stuff like that, but other people that were being known as guitar whiz virtuosos with that whammy bar. That thing was make your guitar sound like a horse.
Damn whammy bar.
Talking Heads. What was their last song live together?
I'll bet you they got back together long after they stopped touring, but I don't know.
What do you think the song was? Talking Heads.
Burning down the house.
Life during wartime.
Look at Mark. Shit.
Cruising.
Jesus. You're like, what is wrong with what?
I'm studying.
I'm studying.
Bravo.
Do you have this list in front of you on another screen?
No, I'm taking
Are you
guesses.
cheating?
Because that was one of their biggest hits, so I figured. Were they at a? Was it a concert or was that some kind of a TV show or?
Well, as many artists on this list can attest, it's rare that a band is able to end its time together with a well-earned encore. Perhaps that's why watching Talking Heads' final set is so satisfying. The band hadn't toured together since '83. This was in 2002, March 18th, 2002. Though several members briefly reassembled under the moniker The Heads. Yeah, that was a little bit of a controversy there between them. There seemed to be zero momentum toward any kind of reunion until the group was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. David Byrne agreed to perform alongside his former bandmates at the event, delivering a 3-song set to honor the occasion. Burning Down the House was their final tune, ending their lifespan with an energetic punctuation. Yeah.
So they did it with style. They did it well.
Yeah. Was it Tina Weymouth and her husband, right?
Chris Friends.
Chris Friends.
Yeah, they were the Tom Tom Club.
Tom Tom Club.
Yeah.
James Brown.
Yeah. And they, I'm telling you, that
oddly catchy song.
It's a great song, and I'm telling you what, they fucking that's just a money machine. That's Prince money. That song for them.
Yeah.
That
I
continues.
hear
I
that
just
once
heard
in
it
a
the
while.
other day in a commercial. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It thing is still
Sell
printing money. Yeah. And it's one of those songs that will have a resurgence.
Yes.
Like Kate Bush running up that hill.
It'll pop up in some indie movie or something.
Yeah.
And,
Or a show, and it's going to be like, boom, here. I mean, Mariah Carey sampled it. So they
Did
get
she
paid
really?
every time that fucking song comes on.
Wow. I didn't know
You know? She sampled it in I forget what his song is. It's a good song. It's a Mariah
I got it on my
Carey song.
mind. I can't think of the title.
The video is her on a roller coaster or something.
Hair going everywhere.
What was Prince's final live song?
Purple Rain.
That's kind of a no-brainer, right? You would think.
Can I venture where it was?
Sure.
I think I know this. Was it in Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, let's see. It was April 14th, 2016. It was a marathon containing 2 sets and more than 40 songs.
Wow. Imagine seeing that.
It was
Bruce show.
passionate. The rock icon excusing himself from the stage at one moment, explaining that the music got too emotional. But more than anything, it was Prince. The Purple One's final show encapsulated everything that made him a legend. And though this night in Atlanta was never supposed to be his last hurrah, it certainly served as a fitting send-off to one of music's greatest performers. Little Red Corvette, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, Kiss, Diamonds and Pearls. The list of hits went on. The night ended with Purple Rain, the crowd singing along with every word. Prince would die days later at his Paisley Park residence. So there's a video out there. And it's one of his shows. This might be the show. I think this was the show where the crowd is just going nuts. And the stage is kind of not, there's nobody on. And they're going nuts, and you know it's an encore. And Prince rises up from the stage on a riser. He comes up to the stage, and the place goes nuts. The band comes back out, and he grabs a guitar, and he goes into a version of Play That Funky Music. And he starts doing the guitar thing on it, and it was fucking cool as shit, man. Cool as shit.
Have you ever seen him live?
I never got to see him. That's something that, my time in the military, like I said, restricted me from paying.
Sure.
And plus the whole family thing, and I kind of took a step away from music for a little while. But no, I never got to see him.
His stuff is I like him. Like, I'm not a big fan, but I like I like his pop stuff too. Anyways, but he's someone I bet if I'd seen him live, I'd have more of a that kind of thing. Well, I do think he was brilliant. You know what I mean? But I don't have the fervor that a lot of fans do. But like I said, songs like Little Red Corvette, even Raspberry Beret. I mean,
that's a great song.
It's a great. Warren Zevon covered it with REM, backing him up. Hindu Love Gods, I think.
One of my favorite songs by him is Pop Life. I don't know why I like that song so much, but you just can't get away from his early stuff. His first 3 albums.
Yeah.
His debut album, then Dirty Mind, then Controversy. I mean, just fucking loaded from front to back. with great fucking songs. Just, I mean, loaded, you know.
Love Sexy has been voted one of the worst album covers of all time.
What was?
Love Sexy.
Oh, yeah. Genesis with Peter Gabriel. The Knife was their final song. What year was it? I'll ask you.
Wait, he left in like 70. Was this a reunion thing? Because he left in what, 75? He left after The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
I'm going to check you, Lou.
Okay.
They reunited for a concert in
Knebworth.
89?
Nope. 82.
No.
82.
Oh,
82.
that early. Okay. Yeah. Peter Gabriel, I think, got him back together for one show or something.
So the story goes, Peter Gabriel departed Genesis in 1975, citing his desire to spend more time as a father while also exploring other creative avenues. I think that's the best thing that ever happened to that band.
Yes.
Because he was into that fucking...
I agree.
I didn't like the performance art shit. That's why I don't like Styx in the, what's his name?
Come on.
Dennis DeYoung?
Dennis DeYoung. That showboat. I don't like that.
With Genesis, you didn't like Flower Man?
I didn't like any of that. Peter Gabriel. He was better on his own, and they were better off without him.
Absolutely. I listened to Trick of the Tail. Is that 76? That was like the first album after him, wasn't it?
First album without him. Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah. Great album. Yeah.
I think everybody did well after that split. So it says he wanted to spend more time with as a father, also exploring other creative avenues, among other reasons. Notably, he remained on good terms with his former bandmates, a fact that would serve him well several years later after losing a significant amount of money after a failed music festival. The musician found himself hounded by debt collectors. In an effort to quickly recoup some funds, he called up his old band and asked for a favor. As a one-off Genesis reunion concert came to fruition. All of the former members performed, though guitarist Steve Hackett didn't arrive until the encore, having just returned from South America. The band's final song together was The Knife, a fan favorite for the group's 1970 album Trespass.
1970?
Trespass came out in 70, yeah.
That was their first album?
No,
it was the first with Phil Collins, because
Genesis Revelation was their first album, but that was like a pop album. Yeah,
and Phil Collins was not the drummer then.
No, and then Steve Hackett wasn't even on the second album. Yeah, deep history of Genesis.
There you go.
Are you a Genesis fan, Scott?
I'm a later Genesis fan, not like early Genesis. Like I said, I didn't like the Peter Gabriel years. I just wasn't. It's like that shit reminded me of like Jethro Tull shit.
It's hit and miss with me. I think there's parts of Lamb Lies Down are pretty interesting, but I thought once they split, I'm more aware of that. What Follow You, Follow Me. That's the first Genesis song I ever heard. But
great song.
I agree. They all did fine on.
They did fine on there. It was the best thing that happened to all of them. Yeah, because Peter Gabriel went off and got to do all that stuff that he wanted to do, and he was very successful at it.
And I love telling the prog heads that they know I'm a prog guy, but I'll go, Visible Touch was a great album. Boy, they just think it is. It's a great album.
Yeah, it is.
It is a great album. Yeah. Ronnie James Dio. So my thing with Ronnie James Dio, I saw the Black and Blue tour, Black Sabbath Boys the Cult, and the hype was better than the concert. Let's put it that way. I was very disappointed with Ronnie James Dio. I was never a Dio fan. And seeing him sing the Black Sabbath songs, okay, I was drunk. It was trashed. And it was like, you're in the concert, moment. And then I was like 16, I was 16, I think. And, it was good, but I only knew a few songs from Blue Oyster Cult and, the Godzilla with I'm still waiting for Lou to put the fucking Godzilla head on. You gotta get the Godzilla head in your background somewhere. You have to incorporate. If I had one, it would be there. You know that.
I've been working with a designer, interior decorator, as you can tell. So there'll be more memorabilia.
I was never a big Dio fan. I didn't like his style of singing. I didn't like the inventor of the devil horns, by the way. Inventor of the devil horns. Yeah, that's right.
That was my favorite period of Sabbath. Shoot Me Now. That's how I grew up on.
Really?
I was 10 years old when he joined them. So I got Live Evil, and the way he sang Black Sabbath, the song, wow.
That's why I always like the original. I don't like change too much, and I was an original Black Sabbath fan, big fan. So Ronnie James Dio, Neon Nights, August 29th, 2009. As it goes, Ronnie James Dio's final performance came fronting Heaven and Hell, the collaboration featuring former Black Sabbath members Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Vinny Appice. The band toured heavily following the release of the 2009 album, The Devil You Know, with stops throughout the U.S. and Europe. The trek closed on October 29th with a date in Atlantic City. Though the singer was well into his 60s, Dio hadn't lost any of the power that made him one of the most recognizable voices of rock. I will give him that. And he was a little dude, too.
Yeah.
What was he, like 5'7", 5'8", or something? He
was Shakira height.
No, yeah, he was not a big dude, but he had a big voice. I'll give him that.
I'm 5'8", which is the average height of the American male. He was shorter than me.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like 5'5" or something like that.
I think you're giving yourself a little too much credit, Lou. I don't think 5'8" is the average. But
no,
okay.
It is the average height of the American male. Okay.
Welcome to Male Talk.
And the average height of the Hollywood leading man. Okay. Tom Cruise, I'm about as tall as Tom Cruise.
I don't think Brad Pitt is 5'8", so I'm just saying.
Probably 6'2".
Good one. Okay. Where was I? The band toured heavily Europe. The trek closed October 29th, and they recognizable voices in rock. Okay. The band delivered a high-energy set featuring songs from its new LP mixed with Sabbath classics. The final tune of the evening was an emphatic rendition of Neon Nights. Just a few short months after the performance, Dio would be diagnosed with stomach cancer. He succumbed to the disease in 2010. Poor bastard.
Do you know when he put out his first single? This
Dio?
is incredible.
1960.
No, 59.
59, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I heard he was like a doo-wop guy or something.
The band was called Dwarf or something, wasn't it? Or like
up in Massachusetts. He lived up in Massachusetts, and something. And
no,
then,
the band was called Elf.
That wasn't the first single. That was like in the late 60s, early 70s. But
okay.
It was like with it's a regular whatever kind of rock and roll band, 1959. And
were they? Okay.
Yeah, that's a big career.
Yeah.
59. Huh.
So when he joins Rainbow with Richie Blackmore, he was already like approaching 40.
40. Yeah. Yeah.
So that first single was like you said was like a doo-wop song?
No, I thought he was.
Something. I actually heard it, I think, on YouTube. It was just a standard whatever bands were doing back then.
Huh.
Yeah.
But did it sound like Ron? Did it sound like that when he did it though?
No.
Okay. I'm sure he's trying to sound like Frankie Valli or something.
Like singing like about Dungeons and Dragons with a Frankie Valli voice.
I've got you under my skin.
Big gnomes don't cry and all that stuff.
Lou, don't do that again, please.
Okay. Are you gonna put me there? Do I go in the penalty box?
Yeah, careful.
No.
You're gonna go in the
But if you do it again, you're definitely going in the penalty box. Yeah.
You didn't like my
30
Michael
seconds.
McDonald either.
30 seconds in the penalty box.
Where's my guitar?
And if you're bad enough, Mark, you'll get a double minor. You'll get a minute. You'll get a minute in the box. So, Oasis, their last song was not an Oasis song. It was a Beatles song. Which one would that be?
I Am the Walrus.
Look at fucking Mark. Lou, you are.
They did a great version of that when they.
Lou, he's just crushing tonight. He's doing a lot of. He had some making up to do from last week. And
this is great. I'm just sitting here enjoying the show.
No pressure. Lou's like, good. No pressure on me. No pressure on me.
No flies on me.
Oasis's last song together live was August 22nd, 2009. By this point, fights between Noel and Liam Gallagher had become the thing of infamy. Still, those in attendance for the band's headlining set at V Festival in Staffordshire, England, were unaware that they were watching Oasis's final performance. After coming back on stage for an encore, the band closed the evening with the cover of I Am the Walrus. In hindsight, it's a poetic ending considering Oasis' outward adoration for the Beatles. The band canceled its remaining gigs soon after the set, with Liam insisting he'd had enough of his brother. Despite occasional rumors, there are no signs of reunion anytime soon. Now, this is from 2019. Now, Jack and I have this long-standing bet that they are not getting back together. As much as I would love it, and if they do, I have to buy 2 fucking tickets, which is not going to be cheap.
No,
I think they're going to get back together. Money will talk at some point.
I think Liam did too much damage with Noel. Although Noel's getting divorced, Liam went deep and he talked shit about his wife. And
how did the songwriting things go? Who needs the money?
Neither one of them, because now Liam has his career. He kind of was stagnant for a little while, but lately, the last couple of years, 3 years, his shit he's selling out wherever he goes. Yeah. And Noel has the High Flying Birds, and he gets a lot of the money from Oasis. He wrote mostly all the songs.
That's what I was thinking. So
he doesn't really need the money.
Right. No, if Liam was floundering, that might give a chance to him to swallow his pride a little bit. He
would talk shit to him on Twitter. He was always dogging him. He calls him there's some name he calls him, like D-boy or something. It must be a thing between the two of them that he's always kind of putting out there. They really would go at it. And I don't know. Jack said recently that he heard rumors that Noel's getting divorced. Well, I said Noel's getting divorced. I read that headline, and Jack's like, well, there's been talk, and I'm like, I just don't see it. I don't think that they're ever going to be able to get along. I just don't. I don't think it would last. Now, all they have to do is reunite once, and I guess I lose.
Yeah. What if they do like an award show? You lose.
Nah, I can't. I think that's not. It has to be like it has to be within reason. Like they got to be doing a festival or a tour.
You can't buy tickets to the award show. I mean, you never get in there.
Yeah. So, the Allman Brothers Band with Duane Allman. What do you think the last song was?
Whipping Post.
No.
Nope.
Oh.
It's not one of their more popular songs. But
Ain't Wasting Time No More? No.
Close. Trouble No More.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you half a point for that. You had no more in the answer. Mark is just...
Oh, that I can't give you. Oh, whatever.
I was playing the Almonds before the show.
Now Lou's getting a little like, nah, he doesn't get anything for that. Fuck that.
I'm going in the penalty. I'm putting myself in the penalty box.
Whoa, Lou. Whoa.
Jack.
Lou, we're going to talk after the show.
Yeah, we are.
This will be our talk. Hey, good show, right? Yeah. Hey.
Mark, how you been?
So, the last song sung live by the Allman Brothers with Duane Allman was Trouble No More on October 17th, 1971. It had all the makings of a great year for the Allman Brothers Band. Released in mid-1971, the live album at Fillmore East, epic, elevated the group from critical darlings to mainstream commercial success. That was the album that turned my brother into total Allman Brothers. Just, if you asked him, he'll tell my brother Colin will say Allman Brothers are the greatest American band. He'll argue with you over that.
Overall, the greatest of the Southern bands too.
Right. But
I don't consider them Southern rock at all. I consider them
right. It's kind of hard to put them there, right?
Some aspect of the jazz, soul, blues.
Yeah. So it says the Fillmore East elevated the group from critical. Let me see. Mark Flynn says definitely the best of the Southern rock bands. Yeah. Part of the band's appeal was connected to Duane Allman, the guitar virtuoso, whose infectious riffs brought many tracks to life. On October 17th, the band performed to an enthralled crowd at the Painters Mill Music Fair in Owings Mill, Maryland. The final song that evening was a cover of Muddy Waters' Trouble No More. Duane Allman died 12 days later, the result of a motorcycle accident, and he didn't hit a peach truck.
Right.
Supposedly. That was the big rumor, and that's why Eat a Peach was.
Yeah.
And Jack came on the show one night and just went into a whole diatribe. That's just a bunch of bullshit. That's not, that's not what really happened. And okay.
But he died at the same stretch of road that the
Barry Oakley.
That's bizarre. That whole thing.
Another member of the band, right? A year later.
Yeah. Barry Oakley, the bass player.
A year later.
Yeah.
Almost to the day, I think it was.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains with Lane Staley, Man in the Box. July 3rd, 1996. It's strange to think that Lane Staley's final performance wasn't even a headlining set. Instead, Alice in Chains were opening for Kiss. The makeup-wearing rockers, having recently reunited for their Kiss Alive tour, Alice in Chains closed their 47-minute set with a ferocious rendition of Man in the Box. Hours later, Staley was found unresponsive after overdosing on heroin. He was hospitalized and would recover, but he never performed again. The grunge legend eventually died in April 2002. Now, was that after Unplugged? I guess it was. 96.
Yeah, Unplugged was a lot earlier than that.
Yeah. I don't know about a lot earlier, but it was earlier.
Yeah.
Because Unplugged, those shows were more they were like they were in the 90s, I think they went, right?
Early 90s,
and during that performance, which is the greatest Unplugged performance, it was a true Unplugged performance, unlike Nirvana's that was not unplugged. But people, idiots say, "Oh, Nirvana was the best unplugged." It wasn't unplugged. Technicality. There was electric in there. Yep. You'll see during during that performance of Unplugged where he says something to the effect. Lane Staley says something to the effect of, "Wow, we should keep doing this." And Jerry Cantrell's like, "Well, let's just do this. Take it easy. Let's just get through this." So you knew, and Lane Staley wearing the gloves because he was shooting up through in between his fingers at that point. That's why he was wearing the gloves.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, again, that guy is not replaceable. And they tried, and they just anybody that listens to them now and says they're good, then you are not an Alice in Chains fan. I don't care.
I haven't heard any of the new material, but any Alice in Chains fan who bought any the new album with that singer didn't like it. They said it was just
It's terrible. They are an average band.
Give it another name for a band. Don't call Alice in Chains. Don't ride the name.
It's a money grab, and they've been doing it for at least 10 years now. Yeah. Maybe longer, 15 years. It's just a money grab at this point. They're out just kind of making money, and people go because of the name.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry Cantrell sang some of the songs, but definitely not Alice in Chains quality to go see them. Lane Staley is just that guy. You could never and I know I'm very repetitive on this topic, but Stone Temple Pilots could never replace Scott Weiland. Never. They tried. Now, do bands get to a point where Stone Temple Pilots made a lot of money. I'm sure they made a boatload of money, right? Because they were kind of a hit machine for a while in the 90s, right? Yeah. Touring, they were headliners, the DeLeo brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so do they get to the point where they're like, okay, we have enough money, but we still like the touring lifestyle. So let's just get somebody and kind of go out on tour and just kind of keep living that lifestyle. We're getting paid to do this. I don't even think they have a record contract.
Yeah, that's how musicians make money now, touring, not records. Yeah.
Right. But they have enough. I think that's how they always made the money, was the touring, was where they always, even more so in the 70s, in the 60s.
I heard in the 70s, I think it was Robert Plant. I might be wrong, but he said that in the 70s, you toured and you made money from touring, but you toured to get your record to sell because this is before social media.
Ah, okay.
Right.
All right. And then that album would sell and you would make money off your album. Nowadays, you don't even hope to sell the album. You just tour your ass off. And
because
the real
it costs so much to make an
album.
album. There's so much that goes into it now. There's so much money.
Yeah.
Like you hear these bands like TLC when they, that's one of the most, probably one of the most popular stories of you think what's going on is one thing, but actually behind the scenes is nothing. They actually had one of the biggest albums in the country. They had the biggest album in the country, sold millions, and they didn't make any money. They got $15,000 a piece at the end of the tour.
Wow. Bad contract.
They just bad contracts. Yeah. So
in the 70s, Led Zeppelin, they were getting bags of cash Peter Grant was just getting.
Peter Grant was like that dude was all business. Like he's gonna fuck somebody up.
Oh yeah, you got to cough up that money.
He's a retired wrestler, and he was a big dude. I swear he had something to do with that robbery at the hotel.
Oh yeah,
that was always a thing, right? Even during the document, what is it? What's the name?
Song remains the same.
Song remains the same. Yeah, you always kind of watch it. You're like, I think he might have had. This is an inside job. There was something going on there. He saw an easy insurance scam coming in.
Yeah,
and there you go, right? Millions, or hundreds of thousands back then, which is the equivalent of millions today.
Well, take Bob Dylan for instance. I mean, I'm sure. Well, he doesn't need any more money because he just sold his catalog, but on the road forever. He must just like doing it.
He likes to play. He's not Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons plays because he says it's my job and I have to make money. But Bob Dylan, like Willie Nelson, these guys like to perform. They'll never stop.
And they're well aware of their legend too. Even if they don't talk about it, they got to know how. They must feel it's pretty self-important.
Sure.
Even if they seem humble, Bob Dylan's Bob Dylan, whether you like him or not. I mean, he's been.
I just think they get
doing his own thing since day one.
They get used to that lifestyle too.
Yeah,
like they can't settle down.
The good lifestyle, that the top shelf
luxury hotels,
yeah,
and like top notch food and everything's first class, and you're going out and you're singing. It's like them going out singing, doing a concert is like us getting together and doing this show. It's like hey, it's fun. It's not. There's really not a lot of physical effort or anything goes into it. You're doing it for the people, and there's people that like it, and just like so I think it's like that to them. Then they go home. They do 2 hours. That's it. And especially when they get older, like they don't go party afterwards. They go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Right.
right. Exactly.
Like they're gonna go to dinner at the hotel, and just kind of.
And there's kids that put through college. There's all the usual expenses, whatever their lifestyles they have to maintain at home. John Entwistle lived in hotels all his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he died at a Hard Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have what's his name? Jacob Dylan, right? Or Jacob Zimmerman. The Wallflowers.
Yeah.
Fucking looked like his father, right? Had a moderate successful career at the beginning with the Wallflowers. He evidently didn't like the name, but they got stuck with it.
Yeah.
It was a joke, I guess, at first, but then it stuck. Mm-hmm. And so he makes his money, he goes on and tour, and then all of a sudden it's like, how do they disappear like that? Like, how do they just disappear? And like, is it because his father has so much money?
Yeah, pretty much. He doesn't. He did his thing. He doesn't have to. Yeah. Last thing I saw from him was that Laurel Canyon documentary.
Yeah,
where he's talking about that era. But I'm sure he puts that stuff. But he doesn't have the songs in him that his father had.
You get to it's like Julian Lennon. Julian Lennon's to a point where you're the son of a legend, and you could just do what you want to do. Like Julian Lennon puts out albums, but
I don't know.
Buys them.
I saw an interview with him. With him recently. Is an older interview. And they asked it was on one of these, like, not the Tonight Show, but it was on one of these late night shows. And the host asked him, so, what's going on? Like, your father and the money. And he says, I get what the Queen gives me. And the guy says, you mean Yoko? And he says, yeah, I get what she gives me. And basically that's what I have to settle for. And, he kind of dogged her, and so it made it sound like he wasn't really making, or he was getting enough, but he should be getting more.
Yeah.
And the other thing with him is you're Julian Lennon. So if you say, I want to write a book, which he's done, that he's going to get the chance to get it published. So it does afford him opportunities.
True.
Right.
If I wanted to write a book, I'd have to self-finance it,
Yeah, I would like to find that interview. It might have been again on one of these reels, but it was really interesting. And they asked him about Sean Lennon. He goes, "Me and Sean, we're brothers." He goes, "We have no," and he doesn't get involved, pretty much. But it's all her. Whatever she wanted to give him is what he got. Now I still say that when he came out with Velat, that scared the shit out of her
Mhm.
because that was a very popular album. And then he was getting compared to his father. And even in the video, you see the image, like there's a shadow in the doorway, and you can tell it's supposed to be John Lennon. And I think she was like, oh, hell no. Like, oh, hell no. He's not stealing that thunder, because he would have. There's no reason he couldn't continue that
Exactly.
rise. He was on the rise.
That album came out, like, this guy's great. And also,
it's a good album.
Yeah. Just fell off a cliff.
And then he just disappeared. And I'm thinking, now I don't know if this interview was before or after that, but I'm thinking she paid him off. She had to give him more to just go away. Because listen, he was the second coming. He was the first son. He looked like him.
Yeah, it sounded like him too.
And actually in a studio, you guys know better than me. In a studio, you can make him sound even more like his father.
Well, what they can do now, especially, I mean, back then it was like 83.
Doesn't matter what you sound like live.
I heard from somebody knew someone that played some session on that record and said they heard that he didn't really write as much of that album as he was led to believe. Whatever his collaborator was more like that one guy was the Bruce Ballard, whatever, it was the Alanis Morissette, where Julian didn't co-write most of that material, so I think he needed material to follow up and stuff like that. But it was a pretty catchy record. There's some good songs on it. I didn't hear the whole record.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
it's a couple of Much Too Late for Goodbyes and the Song of a Lot.
Yeah,
nice.
And those are two hits.
Yeah,
two hits. And there's some other good songs on there. Now, again, it's not like it's a typical album. And I always said this: the Rare album is start to finish, right? But that's not the case with most albums. There's always those throw-in songs, and you got to sit through, 2 or 3 to get to the next song, unless you really or you're right next to your stereo, and you get up and you move the needle, So you just kind of listen to it. But it wasn't a bad album. The Lot was not a bad album, and it sold well. It sold well, so
it was produced by Phil Ramone, was Billy Joel's producer.
Look at you!
So he had a real pro there.
Yeah.
That was for you, Mark. Okay.
Checkmate.
All right.
Hey, Scott. You talk about
he's been
filler.
coming on a little strong tonight.
You talk about filler, right? With albums like this guy. Remember when CDs first came out? So bands felt like they had to put 70 minutes on a CD, and it would be like maybe 20 minutes of good stuff. That was the worst. In the beginning.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah.
I got that from Smash Mouth. Walking on the Sun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I like that type of music. I like that kind of I really like beach music, like surf music. I love that style of guitar. I love that kind of the swing. I like rockabilly. I like music like that, right? I like good bluegrass. It's got a lot like with the nice rhythms and fast and so I hear the Smash Mouth. I'm like, that's fucking that's a great sound. I go, I love that. Sounds great. And I get the fucking CD. It cost me like $19 or something, And the first song, Walking on the Sun, I'm like, oh, this fucking CD is gonna blow up. The rest of it was ska garbage. I'm like, they're a ska band. Like they're a fucking ska band. Like what the fuck? Like I'm not a big ska guy. Like I like certain ska. I grew up with it. Like I like Madness and I like the English Beat.
You didn't want to hear bands from California doing
I wasn't.
ska,
I didn't want to hear just like No Doubt. No Doubt was a ska band until they found out, we can make money here. Just like the Goo Goo Dolls were like hard rock until they found out, we can make money here. And they sold out totally. They sold out everything.
I thought they broke up. They're playing Asheville soon.
Yeah, they're back on tour together, and I would never go see them.
Are they at the Guitar Bar?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're backing up Rage Against the Cafe. Yeah.
That's right, backing up.
They're backing up Rage Against the Cafe.
Oh, they're playing the Orange Peel. That's like the big.
Oh, that's where Steve Wilson performed. I was going to go down and see that show. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, who said they work in a print shop? Who knows somebody who works in a print shop? Did you say that, Mark?
No, Perry and I used to work in graphics. Or does Mark know somebody?
I don't know.
I might work in one now, but with digital printing. Yeah.
They do T-shirts. They do T-shirts.
Anyone can do a T-shirt if you have an iron.
I think I think some Rage Against the Cafe t-shirts should be made. I think we're on to
I'm
something.
slow tonight. I just got what you were saying.
I think we can make some
I'm on
Rage
it.
Against the Cafe t-shirts. Man.
I like it.
I think we're on to something.
Rage Against the Cafe, Asheville.
I think that was the first show that you were ever on, this podcast. And you were saying I do cafe music. You would like kind of saying I do it like I play around Asheville cafes and they fucking people in the cafes and you were like they suck, like these fucking people, they're all snobbing and I'm playing that and then I said, so what's the name of your group? Rage Against the Cafe?
I think I said I wasn't getting the Cafe Society gigs because I'm a little too raucous.
You Rage Against the Cafe.
I'm a laid back guy, but I'm disruptive here.
You get them all caffeinated.
And we got to come up with a logo. We need to come up with a good logo.
Oh God. Okay.
Let's give us something to think about. Give us something to think about.
We'll have to brainstorm over that one.
I could actually have them. I got, I do that King of Facebook live stream, and I got like koozies, right? I could have them put on koozies.
Rage Against the Cafe.
Rage Against the Cafe on a bear koozie. Yeah.
Finish your dinner and listen to the music.
We can do coffee mugs. We can do coffee mugs.
Get your RATC koozies right now.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Dire Straits. Their last song was Local Hero. What was the year? Give me the year.
Wait. So 90.
You
wait. So Brothers in Arms. I'm saying around 96, maybe 95, 96.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm going with that too. 95?
99.
99. Okay.
Did we form that?
99.
Well, the final public concert for Dire Straits occurred October 9th, 1992, but it wasn't the final performance by the band. That moment took place several years later at the wedding of bassist John Isley.
Okay.
Ilsley, yeah.
These are the Isley brothers.
Yeah. The group briefly reunited.
The English version.
For the occasion, performing 5 songs for guests. The final song was instrumental Wild Theme, a cut from frontman Mark Knopfler's soundtrack to the film Local Hero. Now, you know the whole story with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he snubbed them, and the brother, David Knopfler, me and Jack ran with this one for a couple of weeks, man. And we brought David Knopfler, like they fucking sent him like they wouldn't pay for his plane ticket, and like they were saying, if you want to come, you have to pay for your own. And it was brutal. It was, and Mark Knopfler's like, I don't fucking believe in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, you could put me in, but I'm not going there to play. And
Mark, I read where this said because David was on the first 3 records, and the first 3 Dire Straits records are fantastic, I think.
Yeah,
and he goes, we say hi at weddings. They're brothers, and we say hi at weddings.
Yeah,
the dysfunction runs deep and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Every family's got it, but this is something we're brothers in bands.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I did it.
Oh yeah,
but we love each other. We love each other.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Unlike the Gallagher brothers, but the Finn brothers always got along.
And Music Relish podcast, we love each other.
Of course you do. Because you guys got history. You got a lot of history. Right. How can you? I mean, you can't just throw that away over whatever. Over whatever.
I'm still the new guy. I'm still the guest.
Cut that crap out. Oh my God.
You guys were doing the show for 10 years.
Fuck that. Come on, man.
Does he have that? He has the outsider still. He still acts like the outsider. Is that
they
what
were doing the show for 10 years before I joined.
Jesus Christ.
They were recording it on cassette and distributing it, mailing it out to people.
Would you put him in the penalty box, please? I'll pay you.
Mark Smith said Stray Cats, he bought that album for one freaking song. But that was a good album. I like that album. I like that type of music. They did that rockabilly type.
You had to like rockabilly. A lot of people did buy that album, and they weren't ready for a whole album of rockabilly.
Well, Mark Smith wasn't. I mean, Mark Flynn wasn't really mature about music until he met me. So, I let him. I watered him. And he got pretty big. But it wasn't. It was from Twinkies, not water.
You made someone mature, Scott?
Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine that. Yeah.
We all need a mentor sometimes.
But if you hear us in the same room together or in a conversation, you'd never know that we like each other. We have that kind of like, if you heard us talking, like you'd be like, do those two fucking even like each other? Like, really?
I know.
Like, we're always, and it's loud. It's like he's as loud as me. So we're like, oh, it's just, it's just a whole thing.
Boy.
It's a whole thing. Yeah. And it's not even an act. It's not even an act. We can turn it up when our friends are around. Like we have these reunions of the bunch of us that were stationed together in the Philippines back in like from 80, I think it ranges from 85 to like 90. And there's a group of us that get together and they all just sit back every year and just let them go. Let those two go. Just let them go. And it's actually, we turn it up a little for them, but he says, you are my muse. Musically, I am, though. I did kind of turn him on to a lot of good stuff. But, and like you said, Lou, we do have, you got to share the knowledge.
Of course.
Right? You got to share the knowledge. The Police, what was their last song together?
I saw him on that tour.
Roxanne.
Walking on the Moon. Walking on the Moon? No.
Next to You.
Oh, yeah.
Next to You.
Great song.
Yeah, great song. First album, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That was in August 7th, 2008. Okay. It was the Police.
Oh, that was that tour they did. They did a tour. Okay.
Yeah. The Police were at the height of fame, and I'm glad I saw them with Synchronicity. And that was like, oh man, I saw that. It was that concert was an epic concert up north where I was around Massachusetts. It was the Fix, Flock of Seagulls, and the Police, and it was like Good 83. Show. It was like 83, wow. I think. So, excuse me.
Did you like the Fix?
I did. I actually did like the Fix. Yeah. I thought the Red Skies at Night and Stand or Fall and
One Thing Leads to Another.
Yeah, One Thing Leads to Another.
Secret Separation, probably.
Secret Separation, yeah, very good. You know what? That I forgot about that song. I'm gonna go put that on my Spotify playlist. I heard
it in Target last week.
Yeah,
that's cool. We're at a point now where you're in like Walmart or somewhere, so you're hearing like really good music. I was in a Walgreens and I heard "Dominance and Submission" by Blue Oyster Cult. I'm like, what the hell, man? Of all places.
What is this?
Dominance, submission.
Dominance, submission. Secret Separation. I just added it to my A1 playlist on Spotify.
Great song. The guitar is great.
Can you pull up other people's playlists on Spotify?
If they make it public, yes. I have a few playlists.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mine's A1, and it's a very eclectic playlist.
I'm going to look for yours.
Yeah, A1. I don't know if I made it public, but I'll send it to you. It's actually pretty, like I said, it's pretty eclectic.
Spotify takes your frequent picks and they categorize them. I have a pretty hot romantic mix.
Ooh.
When I'm on LinkedIn and I'm in a groove.
Yeah, so we start the fucking show off with LinkedIn is his dating app, right?
Wait, I'm going to do this.
Then we turn into 5'8" is the average Hollywood leading man, right? And now he fucking fesses up to having a hot, passionate fucking playlist on Spotify. Lou, what are you doing here, Lou? Like, where are we going with this?
It starts off with dominance submission.
You gotta know. You gotta know. This podcast is very testosterone driven. There's really not a lot. We have women that like it, but
I got no.
Lou is like tearing it up today. He's got a sweater on. Lou's got a sweater on. He's got a long sleeve sweater, right?
I got my thing.
He's got the lamp in the fucking background. Nice lamp on the did he have look at the chair? He's in the brown, nice, comfy chair. Like he's got the background. Looks like it should be on the fucking in like the background of a spa.
He's one step away from the ladies' man. He just needs a little Courvoisier there.
Lou was getting a pedicure and he walked away with the fucking screen that separates the chairs. That's his background now. Look at Jesus, Lou.
I'm in a massage parlor, actually.
I'm
podcasting from a massage parlor.
Lou's broadcasting from the Rage Against the Cafe massage parlor found in Asheville, North Carolina. Find us on LinkedIn.
I'm in the relish room.
Jesus.
Working up some relish.
Oh, come on. Where does this? Jack wouldn't do this.
Oh yeah, we destroyed your show. Sure,
yes,
you've never won this
We're
low.
going in a
You've
hole.
never won this.
Sorry. Jack has a lot of fans. I know he has a lot of. They're gonna hate. They're gonna hate us.
Jack doesn't have any fans, Lou. Be quiet.
Oh,
That's
I'm
right.
a
I
fan.
forgot.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You're a fan because you just want to bother me. That's why
true.
people are fans of Jack, so they can bother me.
Not true. Jack's.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, all right, let's get through this one. Then I'm going to move on to, and we can pick up. This is a good list, actually.
Yeah.
I also have another list that I want to put out eventually. It's like the top 20 band album covers. So, well, in the future, we're going to get to that. But next week, we are talking about The Clash. Remind me of that, too. So I don't kind of, we don't have to do the deep dive stuff, but we just we'll have a good conversation about The Clash.
Nice.
And I'm sure you two will come up with lots of content.
Don't worry, me and Lou will do a deep
Remember,
dive.
you're in a residency now. Your game is upped.
Vegas
Residency.
Pressure.
I do residencies on this podcast.
Pressure.
Okay.
But we're more than interns, though. We're the utility guys.
I'm an intern. I'm an intern. You want some coffee,
So-
Scott?
I have some right here. But it has to be iced coffee. I don't drink hot coffee. Thank
What's
you.
wrong with you?
No,
It's got to
it
be
has to
hot.
be-
That's tradition.
No,
Come on.
no. I'm from
Really?
fucking Boston. It's all look at it was 20 below zero wind chill factor recently up in Boston, and people are walking out of Dunkies, as they call it, fucking with iced coffees. 'Cause
Really?
Massachusetts, where men are men and women are too.
That's funny. A friend of ours, Tom Mark.
Yeah.
One time I said, I made coffee. I said, "You want some coffee?" He goes, "Hot fluids angry up the blood." And he's originally from Massachusetts or Braintree or something like that.
Ranger, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I was like, hot fluids angry up the blood. So you don't drink
Iced
okay.
coffee. Half
All right.
ice though. You don't let them fill the whole thing. They get you on that.
Yep.
To just ask for half ice.
Dunkies. I got to remember that. Dunkies. I like
That's what they call it. Dunkies. I'm going to Dunkies. You want anything? Oh, look at Mark Flynn trying to stir it up. I especially love Jack's random guitar strumming throughout the.
I agree. It's
You know
great.
what? Mark Flynn, you're in the fucking penalty box. 30 seconds.
There he goes.
No comments for 30 seconds. Look at now. I mentioned his name. Now look at he's popping up all over. He wants to be part of the show. No. Let me finish this. The police next to you, August 7th, 2008. The police were at the height of fame. Did I already read this?
Yeah.
No. I did? No.
No, we didn't get it.
Fucking Mark, you confusing me. Yes, no. Make up my mind.
Yes. We won't go.
The police were at the height of fame in 1984 when the members suddenly decided to call it quits in an effort to pursue solo projects. No, Sting wanted to call it quits. So over the next 2 decades, Sting, Stuart Copeland, Andy Summers would occasionally guest on each other's work, yet talk. I don't know how much Stuart Copeland and Sting did together, but I think because of Stuart Copeland's father, he was their agent.
Yeah.
So I think he kind of
His brother.
his brother, I mean, was their agent.
The father
yeah.
was a CIA agent.
He was, yeah. So it says Andy Summers would occasionally get guest on each other's work, yet talk of reunion never seemed to gain much traction. The trio finally got together for their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony 2003. Eventually, a full-scale reunion launched, and the police circled the globe. They didn't mention, though, they did get together at, I believe it was Andy Summers' wedding.
Yeah.
They got on stage, the three of them, and played. But that was maybe before this tour.
They also got together for one of those greatest hits albums and recorded a shitty
did.
version of Don't Stand So Close to Me. That was horrible.
Yeah, they tried to do what Bowie did with Fame 92, I think it was.
Yeah.
That I actually thought was good. I thought that was a good kind of remake of that song. But their version of Don't Stand So, what was it? Don't Stand So Close to Me?
Yeah.
It was a little
drum machines and everything. Ugh.
Yeah. So the
Oh,
trio
you
finally
know
got
why? You know why they did drum machines?
What?
Stuart
Why?
Copeland broke his arm.
Really?
He had a broken arm, so he had to program drum machines. Yeah,
What a time to break your freaking arm.
it was still a shitty version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
And Stuart Copeland is one of the greatest drummers. He just doesn't get the credit for it.
Yes,
That's
he
true.
is.
That's true.
I see he does these little reels now about drum history.
Mm.
It's pretty interesting stuff. I think it's from a BBC documentary that he's done, that he did on drumming. Yeah.
You see it on YouTube?
I see it on Facebook Reels, but you could probably look up Stuart Copeland, documentary on drums. It was BBC. So it says the trio finally got back together and they circled the globe throughout 2007 and 2008. The final show of the track took place August 7th at Madison Square Garden. Next to You, the opening track from their debut album, was the group's final song. And with that, we will pick up next week. We're going to keep doing this because it's really good information with the Ramones. We'll start off with the Ramones next week.
Cool. All right.
Don't anybody jump ahead of me now. Anybody? No, just don't.
I'm just going to sit and wait.
You're not going to move from that spot?
No, I'm glued to this. I'm glued to my swanky chair.
You come in next week and Lou's got fucking bottles of piss all around him.
Piss bottle, man.
I haven't moved yet.
I'll be on my massage table.
I'm here, Scott. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
He's unshaven.
I got a response from LinkedIn.
Who is he?
They like your brown sweater.
It's red. My sweater's. It's red.
Yeah. Okay. If you say so. Must be your camera. Okay.
You want to borrow my wig, Lou? You want to borrow my wig?
The Schmitty wig.
All right. Hey, it's time for top 10 this week, and I picked this week in 1994. Now, the way this came out was a little fucked up on my list, but the way it but came out of my nose. Let's see. Number 10 this week in, 1994.
Yep.
Richard Marx, Now and Forever. Number 9, Escape. It's X.
Yeah.
Escape. Escape.
Be more Pacific.
Understanding. Yeah, be more Pacific. Number 8 this week in 1994. All for One with So Much in Love.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7 this week in 1994, Mariah Carey with Hero. And number 6 this week in 1994, Mariah Carey.
Whoa.
Without You, Never Forget You. I guess that was, so she was back to, look at that. She was crushing. Is she in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No.
But Carly Simon is. Carly Simon is. Number 5 this week in 1994, Tony Braxton, Breathe Again.
Oh, good song.
Yeah. Number 4 this week in 1994, Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting, All for Love.
That was from a movie?
Robin Hood. Robin Hood. The one where Kevin Costner has a Midwestern accent and goes, I'm Robin Hood. I'm stealing from the rich to give to the poor.
Kevin Costner speaks the same in every movie, no matter what. He goes from Robin Hood to Dances with Wolves, and it's the same voice. You might as well have fucking Adam Sandler doing those roles.
There we go. Kevin Costner was up for the Batman Michael Keaton role.
Yeah, that
I'm
would have been
Batman.
good.
Robin, where are you?
I'm Batman. Yeah. Batman, weren't you Robin Hood, motherfucker? What? So, number 3 this week in 1994, Salt and Pepper, featuring En Vogue with What a Man, What a Man, What a Dolly Good Man.
Oh, wow.
Dolly Good Man. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a, yep. Salt and Pepper was kicking it back then.
Yeah.
Sure.
Spinderella. Everyone liked Spinderella, though. She was better looking than the other two. She was better looking than Salt and Pepper. Number 2 this week in 1994, Ace of Base, The Sign. I saw the sign.
Wow.
And I opened up my eyes. I saw the sign.
Is it a one-hit wonder?
No, Ace of Base had a few hits.
They were going to be the next ABBA. Everyone said they're going to be the next ABBA.
Yeah,
really. Next album.
No, you can't be the next ABBA. That's and number 1 this week in 1994, Celine Dion, The Power of Love.
No,
wow.
Not the Huey Lewis in the News Power of Love. Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. Now let's get into
something with Scott. Not a rock and roll song. Not a rock band on that whole top 10.
Nope. 1994
was the 90s for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Late 90s, you started seeing it. It was a little resurgence of rock, but early 90s, in the mid 90s.
Good songs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's time for Mark's favorite part of the show. This Day in Music. Da, 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 da. Let's start from the back and move forward this week. So
I'm not going to stop through the whole thing.
On this day in 1958, Buddy Holly played the first of 25 dates on his only UK tour at the Trocadero Elephant and Castle in London. Let me see.
Now, Lou's got to know something about this. Lou's got to know something.
I didn't know he did a UK tour. What year was that?
It was 1958. 25 dates. That was the only time he toured the UK.
Wow.
On this day in 1961, Elvis Presley signed a 5-year movie deal with producer Hal Wallace.
Oh, boy.
Great move, though. Great move. During his career, Elvis made 31 feature films and 2 documentary feature films. On this day in 1967, working at Abbey Road Studio in London, the Beatles started recording a new John Lennon song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And, Julian's friend at school, Lucy
LSD
O'Donnell,
and all that.
Nah, it was basically Julian came home and a picture of his friend and Lucy.
Yeah.
So Yoko pays him a couple $bucks a year for that song.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. On this day in 1968, Elton John's first single, I've Been Loving You, was released at on the Phillips label, with lyrics credited to Bernie Taupin. Although John later admitted that he wrote the song by himself, giving Taupin credit as an effort to earn Taupin his first publishing royalty. The song didn't chart, and Taupin said, "See, motherfucker, you got to let me write this shit.
Write the lyrics.
You learn your lesson? You learn your lesson? I didn't make a fucking dime off that trash. Now let me write the songs, you write the music, and that's that."
And they set up the relationship.
Best thing that ever happened to them. And then they would never meet. They would mail each other cassettes.
Right.
They never fucking really sat together in a studio, supposedly. At least when they were writing them, when they were in the process. I don't think Taupin was in the studio when they recorded them.
I think I read something about him in the Rock and Roll Encyclopedia, and I think they did that kind of thing, but I think they worked out some arrangements in the studios, I think.
Yeah.
But not like,
not a lot.
Not a lot. But like I said, I think Bernie would just submit.
Yeah.
Excuse me, he would just submit lyrics, and say, hey,
So I guess they had a kind of a falling out at one point, and they kind of got back together as friends, and Elton John went to visit him, and Bernie Taupin's wife walks in the kitchen and looks at Bernie and says, "Oh, the bitch is back, huh?" And that's how the song came out. The bitch is back.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great song.
That's a true story. That's how it happened. Yeah. On this day in 1969, this was a bad one. Jim Morrison of the Doors was charged with lewd and lascivious behavior.
It was his finger. It was
showing his penis to the audience. Supposedly, that's me adding that, at a show in Miami. He was found guilty and sentenced to 8 months hard labor. Morrison died in Paris while the
unlike his
sentence
penis
was on appeal. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Well, they said he was so drunk. I Rock and Roll. Wait, the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia Rock and Roll. I was reading it. I read about the Doors. Lester Bangs savaged them, and he mentions the word flaccid. And the whole Morrison was so drunk he couldn't sing. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
So Jim really made a true ass of himself.
Yeah. On this day in 1973, Pink Floyd released their 8th studio album.
That would be Dark Side of the Moon. Wish you were here.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon. I got it. I don't know the years.
Mark.
Did you just change to Wish You Were Here? Did you change your answer, Mark?
No.
Did you? You didn't change.
Yeah,
you didn't
I did.
So you don't get credit. You changed your answer.
You
I'm not good with years. See, Lou intimidated you. You said Dark Side of the Moon. Lou gave an answer, and then you thought, well, if Lou knows that, maybe I know.
No, because I was only 4 years old in 1973, so I don't remember it.
Lou was what, 17?
No way! Come on, I was 12 or 11. I'm the oldest one.
You can't escape it, Lou. You can't escape the show. It's got to come. I got to come at you once, at least once.
I accept it all. It's
yeah, accept it as much as me. You're gonna.
I've been told. I've been married twice. I've been told I'm a pleasure to abuse. So you just
is that on your LinkedIn profile, by the way? Is that on your LinkedIn profile? Do you list that?
I'm a
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Yeah, really.
On this day in 1974, Chris Difford placed an advert in a shop window saying lyricist seeks musician for co-writing. Glenn Tilbrook answered the ad, and the pair went on to form Squeeze, one of the greatest hits albums ever.
74, so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you, one of the greatest hits albums ever. I don't know when the last time you listened to it, but it's
I've not heard the album. Yeah.
Dude, you got to listen to that. I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest hits albums ever.
Yeah, I bet. They were good, man.
Every song on the end, go, oh shit. Oh, like it's literally one of those oh shit albums. Like I didn't know either. I didn't know they sang, or I forgot they sang that, or I forgot all about this song.
Are you talking about singles 45 and under?
Yeah.
Up the Junction, all that stuff.
All of it, man. Cool for Cats. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tempted, cool sang by who?
Paul Carrack.
Yeah. Their biggest hit too.
Yeah, the biggest hit. Black Coffee in Bed.
Black Coffee in Bed, yeah.
Every Day I Read the Book.
That's Elvis.
Oh, that's right. Wait, no. Elvis produced one of their records, though. No,
you're not getting out of this one. You're not getting out of this one.
No, I was wrong, but Elvis sings on Black Coffee in Bed.
Hey, Scott, when Lou does this, when he's talking, he's nervous. I know that.
The thing is, he does wait. The claw? He got like Baron Von Raschke. Is there the old wrestler Baron Von Raschke with the claw?
Tuesday, I'm doing the wash. On Wednesday, I'm doing the grocery shopping.
Did you ever watch old time wrestling back then? You ever watch it? Yeah. Baron Von Raschke, the tall, like lanky, bald dude. He came in with the cape and the long and he was the master of the claw, and he would hold his wrist like his hand was its own entity, and he'd walk around. Baron Von Raschke, master of the claw. Lou just gave us the claw.
I was right.
I was a wrestler.
Every day I write the book. Jesus. Okay. Anyways.
Okay.
Don't knock your lamp over there, ladies.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. Glenn Tilbrook answered the ad, and the pair went on to be Squeeze. Had hits with Cool for Cats, Up the Junction, Tempted, Label with Love, Pulling Muscles from Michelle. That's another.
And also did what's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding, right?
Yeah. They did that one too. Go listen to the album.
They also did Get Back, I think, in Long and Winding Road too.
Yes.
Cool.
On this day in 1975, the Eagles went to #1 on the U.S. singles chart with
One of These Nights.
Nope.
No, Lion Eyes.
Take it to the limit.
Nope.
It's 75.
Yep.
That's One of These Nights. That's from that album.
Nope. Best of My Love. The first of 5 #1s from the band.
That came out in 74.
The song was included on their 1974 album, On the Border, and was released as a 3rd single from the album. According to Don Henley, the lyrics were written while in a booth in Dan Tanner's restaurant close to the Troubadour in West Hollywood. So it got released in 75. Like they released it so they must have released it in like before Christmas type thing.
Yeah, right.
And then 75 it pops.
And that was their first #1.
Yeah. First of 5, and I guess. On this day in 1979, Joy Division appeared at the Hope and Anchor in Ilsington, London, England. Admission was 75p, which was the equivalent of $1.28.
Wow.
On this day in 1980, Blondie were at #1 on the UK singles chart with one of my favorite Blondie songs, Atomic. Yeah. Down. The group's 3rd UK #1 single from their album Eat to the Beat. On this day in 1986, Mr. Mister started a 2-week run at #1 on the US singles charts with
These Broken Wings.
Nope.
Kaylee.
Nope. Kyrie Lake.
That's what I meant to say.
Kyrie.
Kaylee.
Lake. Huh? You said Kaylee.
Yeah, there's a song on the same time.
Kyrie.
Kyrie Lake is it's Kyrie.
Yeah, no, I know that. I was thinking of a different song.
Okay.
He's going to the phone. We're in trouble. Yeah. Why don't you go to the notebook? Look in Genesis 1.1.
It's LinkedIn. I'm not looking at it.
Jesus. The group's 2nd US #1 a number 11 hit in the UK. Also, the group's album "Welcome to the Real World" went to number 1 on the US album charts.
Great album.
On this day in 1990, this is one of those things you look back on. Janet Jackson played the first night of her 120-date Rhythm Nation tour at the Miami Arena in Florida, which isn't there anymore. As part of the show, Jackson had a live panther on stage, but after concerns were raised over safety of the crowds and several incidents of the panther pissing on the stage, Jackson axed the cat from the show in the summer leg of the tour. Oh, don't worry about the panther's ears and hearing and agitation from the vibration of the fucking. Don't worry about that. Whatever you do.
The least it did was piss on the floor. It didn't kill anybody.
Yeah. Oh, the panther pissed on the floor. We have to get rid of it. But don't worry about its like mental health with the fucking boom and people running around the stage and the
subsonic sounds we can't hear. He can hear.
Don't worry about taking a solitary animal, and putting it on a stage every night in front of 17, 18, 20,000 people. Nah, don't worry about that. Fucking morons.
Hey, Lou, you know what? The China Club, Hillsdale. I grew up 2 blocks from there. I don't know when you went there. The parrots. So you'd go there to be thrash bands playing at ear-splitting levels, and these parrots are in these like
these glass things, right? Yeah.
And I'm like, what the? Even I was a teenager. I'm like, what the hell with these? I don't know. They didn't look scared, so I don't know.
They were deaf by then.
They were probably just numb into it. Yeah, but that was weird. That was really weird.
Maybe they gave him the early version of CBD oil.
On this day in 1991, it was a sad day. Frank Smith from Air Supply died of pneumonia in Melbourne, Australia.
Air Supply?
Familiar with them.
From Air Supply, yeah.
Oh, Air Supply. It's a Masterfly.
Oh, no,
I did too.
Oh, all right. What are you fucking making fun of my accent?
Wow.
You had a problem with my accent?
Air Supply has the greatest hits album of all time.
Scott, I've told you this a million times. Nobody says go F yourself like somebody from Boston. Just tell me to go F myself, okay?
Go fuck yourself.
There you go. I love it. I'll even put on a Yankee shirt so you could really say it with feeling.
One of my favorite saying is go fuck yourself. Yeah, that's my favorite saying. Go fuck yourself. Oh, shut the fuck up. That's a whole nother one. A whole nother one.
For fuck's sake.
All Out of Love and The One That You Love, blah, blah, blah. On this day in 1994, here you go, right? This plays right into this, right? Nirvana played their final ever concert when they appeared at the Terminal Eins in Munich, Germany. I think we covered this last week, Lou. In Germany, the 3,000 capacity venue was a small airport hangar. The power went off during the show, so they played an impromptu acoustic set, including a version of The Cars' My Best Friend's Girl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In an airplane hangar.
In an airplane hangar in Germany.
Girlfriend. Yeah. I could just hear him singing it, too.
Yeah, right? On this day in 1975, Bruce Springsteen's Streets of Philadelphia won 3 Grammys. I don't care. On this day in 1995, during a gig at the Petinois Auditorium in Lausanne, Switzerland, REM drummer Bill Berry collapsed on stage from a ruptured brain aneurysm.
Yep.
He recovered and later rejoined the band.
That was the best place to have an aneurysm because that hospital is apparently one of the best places for any kind of brain surgery. So
timing is everything.
Timing is everything. Yeah.
On this day in 1997, Bowie bonds were issued. Do you remember this?
No.
On the U.S. Stock Exchange, linked to David Bowie's back catalog albums, with money earned on the bonds via internet from royalties. Investors could expect to make an 8% profit in about 10 years. So that was that era when like banks started getting mortgages and putting them together and selling them like on the market. They were doing everything they could to fucking sell. Mm-hmm. Even Bowie's back catalog. It would just fuck. And then boom, everything crashed.
Yeah.
Everything crashed. On this day in 1997, a Motley Crue fan claimed his hearing had been irreparably damaged like the parrots at the club that Mark just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
After a show in New Jersey, Had his lawsuit thrown out of court. The judge told Clifford Goldberg, who sat near the front of the stage, you knew the risk you were taking.
Sure.
On this day in 2004, Michael Jackson unveiled a new unveiled a new website. The site featured a celebration of his music career plus news on his current criminal trial, including short biographies of his attorneys and a calendar listing of upcoming court dates. Yeah. Now, if you are, who the fuck was in charge of that PR fucking insane campaign?
I think it was Michael.
This is
it was the Panther.
This is the early days, I guess, somewhat of the early days of the internet, and they were like,
yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? Any pub that just okay.
Oh, but those were the early days when you got his website. It took 5 minutes for everything to download.
So the lawyers think that besides defending a pedophile, because he likes to spend time with his family and go skiing.
Yeah, he likes to spend time with a monkey, and and on this day, finally in 2016, 76-year-old Ginger Baker posted on his blog that he had canceled all his scheduled shows for the year and was going into immediate retirement. The former drummer for Cream and Blind Faith revealed, and don't forget Baker's Air Force, Ginger Baker's Air Force, revealed that his doctor had diagnosed him with serious heart problems, causing him to announce all forthcoming shows. One of the greatest rock biographies documentaries I've ever seen is Beware Mr. Baker.
Oh, he breaks the guy's nose.
Dude is fucking nuts. Yeah. Absolute fucking lunatic.
Then he cries when he talks about Eric. I love him. I love him. Yeah.
My brother used to say, he'd say, poor fucking Clapton. Ginger Baker just fucking followed him everywhere. Like, but how can you turn down the talent? Like, how can Clapton say no to that talent? Right?
Yeah.
Well, he kind of wiggled his way into Blind Faith.
Right.
Baker did. But when I heard Can't Find My Way Home the other day, and the drumming is just amazing. It's a great song, but you couldn't deny him. He's my favorite. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
But that documentary, I was just like, what? I watched. I was fascinated the whole thing.
Right? It's you got to watch it. Beware Mr. Baker. It's fucking. It starts off.
Recommended. Yeah.
It starts off insane.
Is that where he's sitting with his wife and she's not saying a thing? She's very quiet, right?
Yeah, he's in Africa, right? Was that when he was living in that? He loved them African chicks. Loved them.
Yeah, and he had some children, young children.
Oh yeah.
Besides his oldest son from his first marriage, what marriage it was.
He's in South Africa. That's where he was living, I think. Right, South Africa. But
I don't think it was South Africa. He was somewhere maybe in Kenya or something.
Was he?
Something like that, but. Yeah, well, he had in the 80s he had olive farms in Italy. That was the business he did after music. But he played with Johnny Lydon in Public Image Limited too.
Then his son tries
Kofi. Kofi Baker. Yep. Yeah, but you can tell the son and him didn't have a great relationship.
No, man. I don't think anybody had a great relationship with him.
No. Well, Mark, in the beginning, he hits the interviewer in the face.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Yeah, he broke his nose. Remember that?
That's what I said. The whole documentary starts off crazy.
I like when he goes, you're fucking. All of a sudden you see the camera go crazy. And then the guy's like, I broke my nose.
I'm not going to, we don't want to give away the premise of that, but you'll see why that is so fucking crazy. Yeah. When you watch the rest of the documentary, it's so without giving it away,
and the guy comes back. The guy has a broken nose, and he continues.
Oh yeah, I think he got some respect after that.
He's got to continue the fucking. So it says, causing him to announce cancel all forthcoming shows, and now born on this day. Let's see who was born on this day. Born on this day in 1904, Glenn Miller. That's the only baby boomers would really know that.
I know.
Born on this day in 1927, Harry Belafonte.
Dale.
Born on this day in 1942, Jerry Fisher. Lou?
Jerry Fisher.
Who?
That Jerry Fisher. No, who's Jerry Fisher?
Ooh,
Jerry Fisher.
The Lou.
From jazz rock American group Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
What? Oh. What instrument? Do you say what instrument he played?
Doesn't say. No. Born on this day in 1944. Happy birthday, Roger Daltrey.
Right.
From The Who. Born on this day in 1944, Mike Diabo. Who that is?
I know that name.
Mike Diabo.
I've heard that.
Singer-songwriter with
I'm stumped.
Blinded by the Light. Here she comes, just walking down.
Man for Man.
Man for Man, yep.
Mike
Yep.
Diabo.
Yep.
Wrapped up like a douche in the night. Yeah.
One of the most misquoted lyrics in music history.
Do you know who the drummer is on that?
Oh, wow, you do.
I do, yeah.
That was a perfect answer.
It's Chris Slade. You know who Chris Slade is?
A Firm.
The Firm, AC/DC, after Phil Rudd got fired the first time. He was Man for Man's Earth Band.
Good.
Born on this day in 1958, Nick Kershaw, English singer-songwriter, had the 1984 solo UK #2, I Won't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, as well as hits like Wouldn't It Be Good If We Could Get Even If It Was For Just One Day. You know that song? No?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Anyways, moving on. Born on this day in 1963.
He's not a musician, Lou. He's not a musician.
That's right. Robert Fuso. Robert Fuso from American heavy metal band Skid Row. I know there's got to be a Skid Row fan out there somewhere.
Skid Row.
I wasn't a big Skid Row fan, but
is that Sebastian Bach? Is that
Sebastian Bach was good on Trailer Park Boys. Let's say that.
He was. He really was. He was. Born on this day in 1969, Christina Bergmark. With the alternative Swedish rock band, the 180s. I don't know what the fuck. Born, I didn't edit this list well enough. I missed one.
Google will bite you in the ass every time.
Born on this day in 1973, Ryan Peake, guitarist from Canadian rock band and brunt of many jokes, Nickelback.
Many jokes.
And no one seems to know the origin of why Nickelback gets such a bad rap. Right? They just get bagged on constantly. Nickelback. They used as a meme. They used as jokes, but they're still doing it. They're still fucking out there making money.
You know what I think it is? I think they weren't true to what they represented. That's where they got a lot of flack.
Okay.
The pop thing, and but I've heard Chad Kroger's a genuinely nice guy. I've heard he's I don't know.
But they just get roasted at every turn.
They've been accused of misogyny, other things like that. Some of the more raunchier lyrics, but they've sold a trillion records around the world.
And they still tour. I mean, I'm sure they're up in Canada right now playing somewhere.
No, they're Canadian. That's right.
Yeah. Born on this day in 1987, Keisha. And born on this day in 1994, I don't like him, but you got to give him credit. Another Canadian, Justin Bieber.
God, I feel old. 1994.
That's it. And that's the show, my friends. That's it. Good show.
2 hours and 22 minutes. Clock in.
It was short tonight. It was like the first set of a Grateful Dead concert. I've said that many times before.
So, okay, Mark, go take a bathroom break, Mark. And when you come back, me and Lou will be waiting for you.
I reabsorbed it.
To start all, let's do round 2. Let's do like an encore, yeah?
Oh, here we go.
If we're not here, Mark, start without us. We'll be right back.
I'll be back for you. Nice tasty biscuit. Yeah.
There you go. Just come back with a tuna fish sandwich like Jack did that one night. Fucking walks off, leaves me doing. He comes back with a sandwich.
That was one of the best moments of the show.
I gotta say that was epic. That was probably one of his best moments. I'd say that was his best moment.
I
disappears.
I fell off my chair laughing on that.
And the people missed it that listen to the podcast that don't watch the video because it was such a visual. Like he comes back and he's eating a sandwich.
Toasted tuna fish is Mark Lindsay.
Also,
made a sandwich.
The sound of tuna fish being eaten.
And I was,
it sounds like a cat eating cat food.
Yeah, and I was still on this day in music, and he's fucking just sitting there eating a sandwich.
A toasted tuna fish sandwich.
Well, gentlemen, this is the first night of your tenure.
I got to start studying again. All right.
So. So who are we talking about next week?
The Clash.
There you go. Okay, do your homework, boys. Gentlemen, as usual, I Appreciate your time. I love your knowledge. You guys are the best. I always appreciate your time. And
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Settle in, everybody, because you're going to be listening to these two for a while, it seems like.
Feel sorry for you guys.
And if you like the show, share it, whether it's through the podcast or it's through the YouTube channel or Facebook or whatever. If you don't like it, well, thanks for listening this long. As I say now.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Imagine not like I fucking hate these guys 2 hours and 24 minutes later.
You're
Fucking still hate them.
Abuse.
Motherfuckers. Stupid. It's a stupid podcast. So, and as I always say, you are the engine that runs this machine. Without you, we would just be talking music, and that's always fun no matter what. And doing this show for you, to quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Do you know what song that's from? You're not Smiths fans? Okay.
I am, but I don't know what
it is. It is from a Smiths song. The pleasure, the privilege. I'll let you guys do you can see.
I'm going to ask my daughter and son-in-law because
it's a great song. It's a great song. Okay. And I got that line because when I saw him at Madison Square Garden and Blondie backed them up, at the end of the show, he's, Morrissey, he might be whatever you think he is. He might be prudish, but he is respectful. And he said, I'd like to thank Blondie, although they thanked me. I'd like to tell them the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Yeah. And so I thought that was a nice tribute to them. And they did put on a fucking great show. Blondie they brought in this whole street orchestra to do Rapture, and it was fucking great. Like, there had to be 60 people up on the trombones and they're all in just regular street clothes, and it was a jam for like 12 minutes. It was great. Wow. It was great. So, other than that, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will be back next Wednesday night. Hopefully the both of them are here. If Mark doesn't have another lifesaver class.
I'll see. I'll see.
Another lifesaver class. He's sniffing the ink in his fucking notebook.
Study online.
Hey, you know what I came across real quick today? And I always drag these out. Jack says I have the longest fucking endings of anything.
Wait, let me turn my camera off. I learned that from Jack.
When we were kids, there was like you'd get a test, right? And it would be printed. It would be a printed test, and you could smell it. Remember, you could smell the ink on that.
The blue ink. Yeah.
It's a mimeograph.
But they designed that ink to smell like that because it literally mellowed out kids. Like, kids would be smell. I remember going, it was a sweet kind of like inky smell, but it was like it was fucking designed that way.
So we were getting high.
Kids. Well, it was pretty much, but it would make kids like look forward to getting it. Like, they were getting addicted to doing classwork.
Those are
Don't
the kids.
You remember
remember they used to the crank, and they would
in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when Mr. Hahn gives out the test. Remember that? And everybody sniffs it. Yeah,
everyone's sniffing it.
And those kids went on to eat paste.
Well, is that what I did wrong?
Yeah,
I wasn't supposed to do that.
No.
In my dad's church, I ran the mimeograph machine. I used to run that thing, and I used to put the liquid in there. That was doing the church bulletin.
There you go, buddy.
Man.
And then after church, you'd eat paste.
That's right.
Listening to Grateful Dead.
All right, everybody, let's end the show. We'll see you next week. We're out. Say good night.